camp yesterday. We're going to get more on that, plus the latest around the NFL. Sal Capaccio is going to join the show a little bit later on today at 5. And coverage of training camp on WGR is presented by Figo Car and Joyce, your border attorneys, and by Outlet Liquor. When you need to stock up, it's the place to buy a case. What's your outlet? Speaking of camp, both the Panthers and Cardinals had their veterans report today, as that is going to be the matchup in this year's Hall of Fame game on August 6th. These are the first two teams to have their veterans report. And then the Seahawks, they have placed running back Zach Charbonnet on the physically unable to perform list as he continues to recover from off-season knee surgery. Now to baseball, and there's plenty of it today. The Bisons are currently in action. They're home against Rochester. Buffalo leads that one 9-0 in the 6th. And then to the majors. Game 1 of Yankees-Pirates does see New York down 3-0 into the 7th. Game 2 of that doubleheader is scheduled for 7:05. Also having a doubleheader today, Boston, who is looking for win number 15 and possibly record-setting win number 16 in a row. They take on the Orioles. Game 1 does see Boston up 6-2 in the 5th. Game 2 is tentatively scheduled for 7:10. And then to our one-offs, the Mets are at Milwaukee today, and they trail 3-1 in the 3rd. And the Jays, they host Tampa Bay at 7:07. That's your Paddock Chevrolet Sports Update. Paddock Chevrolet with you for the extra mile since 1935. I'm Zach Jones for Western New York's Voice of the Fan, WGR.
Mike Schopp and the Bulldog.
Uh-oh. Guess what day it is? Guess what day it is? Huh? Anybody?
Monday, Tuesday, hump day is halfway.
It's Mike Schopp.
Mike. What day is it, Mike?
And the Bulldog.
Hey, guess what day it is? Oh, come on. I know you can hear me.
It's Mike Schopp and the Bulldog.
Guess what today is?
It's hump day.
Woo-hoo!
On WGR.
Hump day!
Sports Radio 550.
Gonna be there in an hour.
It's a real one. It's a Wednesday in the summer, as it happens. Yeah. No holidays or vacation days on either end.
Right, whole week. Yeah.
It's a real, actual hump day. It's a serious,
where
legit.
Do you know, has it ever been decided where exactly is the hump? Like it's 3 o'clock on a Wednesday. I would imagine for most normal people that they're on the downslope of the hump. Like they've crested the hill of the hump.
There's a fantasy name.
And are sliding down like Fred Flintstone down the brontosaurus's tail for it's the whistle blew. Holy cow!
What a reference!
A Fred Flintstone reference.
Really? You had to do that to us already?
5 o'clock whistle. Anyway, I'm sorry. I'm feeling very, 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 very old today. Why I'm asking about the hump. Where is the hump?
Just what people want to hear.
I'm not sure I can climb the hump. If we because we're just starting our workday. If I have to climb the hump, I could be in trouble.
What do you mean we're just starting our workday? I've been grinding for 4 hours.
I
have all this written down. You want to see it? You want proof?
Oh, I believe you. I'm just saying. For me,
I don't take this job at W2AP 84 Buffalo lightly.
I was what?
I take it seriously. You don't.
I was working, also, but not typing, not thinking. I was muling.
Were you trying to figure out how much MLB TV costs for the rest of the season? Is that part of your workload today?
I did not know.
You didn't look into that?
No, that would not have made me tired.
Should Bulldog get MLB TV to add to his 7 other streams?
You're not Mr. do the big yard work guy. I mean, you've got the riding mower now. How much experience do you have going to the store for mulch, say? Is that something you do
every year?
Every year. Okay.
Once.
How often?
Never twice.
How often do you have to Okay. So you
Never go buy mulch twice in a year. No. Never.
Does that mean you always get enough?
I don't know. Is it ever enough?
No, it really is never enough.
It's never enough.
I
have to go back.
Here, I just want to explain what I'm talking about here. I'm sorry. Did you have big plans for the 3 o'clock segment?
Please. I did all my work earlier.
We had some concrete work done at the house on earlier this week. 50 feet of sidewalk and another maybe 50 feet of our front walk. Premier they did a great job. Premier Concrete. I've been doing their ads for months. They did a very nice job. But as part of that, the grass along the sidewalk and along the walk gets all torn up. So there's you gotta I could hire someone to come in with a dump truck full of topsoil and do that and seed it. But me being me, I'm like, the guy gave me a card for I got it. I'll do this. I was gonna go Saturday, but today it was so cool. I was gonna go for a bike ride. Went out in the backyard. I'm like,
I'm loving fall so far.
It's so cool out. I should do this today. So I'm at Home Depot at like 8 in the morning. And, I find the topsoil, the bags of topsoil. Like, they're okay, them $3 a bag, 40-pound bags. And I'm standing there. I know what I've got to do. Sorry, I'm backing up like I'm looking at the topsoil. And I think 8 of these ought to do it.
8 bags?
8 bags. 8 40-pound bags of topsoil.
You don't even have a yard.
Right. I mean,
you have a small yard.
Yeah, but this is whatever. And it shouldn't be much, right? It's just filling in what was dug up. It's like 8 bags ought to be good. Load them in the truck.
8 bags.
Go home. Hurl them out of the truck into the front yard and start the job. Start tearing the bags open and dumping the 8 bags of topsoil and
How do you do it? You cut the corner?
First I was just tearing them open like an animal, but then I realized that if you just poke it at the top, there's a seam along the side that you can just, it all comes out real easily. So anyway, it didn't take me many bags to figure that out. In about 10 minutes.
You only had 8.
It wasn't even 10 minutes. As soon as I dumped the first bag out, I went I'm not going to have enough. I'm not even close to having enough. It's apparent. I'm going to have to go back to the store. But okay, let me just see what I'm dealing with. So I do. I use all 8 bags. How many more do you think I went back to Home Depot to get?
15.
28 more bags. 28 more.
How is that not your whole yard?
I missed by that much. My estimate was that is the worst. It's the worst job I've ever done guesstimating how much of a thing I'm going to need to throw on the ground in my yard. I needed 36 bags of this stuff.
To do what? Just line the sidewalk?
It was 2 inches by 2 inches deep all along 50 feet,
36
sides.
Bags?
36
The
bags.
big, heavy bags?
They're 40-pound bags. I mean, they're
40-pound bags?
40-pound bags of topsoil. Yeah.
36 40-pound bags?
Yeah. There's
1,440 pounds of dirt?
To be honest, there's 2 full bags left.
2?
I went, so 26 bags of 26 40-pound bags of topsoil is what it took to do this.
That's what you've been doing today?
That's what I've been doing today. I don't have much.
No wonder you didn't find out how much baseball TV costs.
I think most of the dirt is. I'd show you on the stream, but I think I got most of the dirt out from under my fingernails.
You know what I did today?
I was grinding, and
this is so good.
I don't know how my body. I'm supposed to play golf tomorrow. I have a 7:27 a.m. tee time tomorrow.
That bag's going to feel light.
I don't know. I will have to see if I get out of bed for that because I might be wrecked. Because not only, it's the loading the bags into the truck, loading the bags out of the truck, kneeling,
torture,
tearing their hands and knees, spreading this stuff everywhere, and then grass seed. And I nailed the grass seed. The grass seed was $40 for this big contractor-sized bag, and I almost got 2, but I had just enough.
How much is 36 bags of mulch?
Well, seeing as how it was
$500.
It was 3 different trips because there was the 8-bag trip. I went back and got 20, and that wasn't enough.
Right. No.
And then and Owen came home while I was I'm covered in mud. I'm just gross.
Oh my!
And he comes
home.
Story. He's like, you need, he helps me finish those bags off. I'm like, all right, we need more. And he just the way I said it, he's like, you want me to go? I'm like, yes, very badly. I want you to go to Home Depot and get 8 more bags. So he went. So I don't know. But the 20 bags was.
I'm exhausted just listening to this.
20. They're $3 each, so it's not that expensive.
$3 each.
It was like $60, for the 20. So all in all,
right.
not that bad.
A metric ton of mulch.
I just can't believe how much I missed
for your house.
How much I missed by. You know, because mulch, maybe the first time I ever went to get mulch for my yard, I missed by, 8 or 10, I missed by half. That's not anywhere near enough. But once you know. So every year if you're going to get mulch, I know how much to get. This was just, I've never really done topsoil. So one time, but that was a dump truck situation at the cottage, where, they just dumped a pile and I wheelbarrow and shoveled that. But this was, I don't know. I don't have any regrets at this point not hiring someone to do this. I have no idea what it would have cost to have a professional landscaper come in and do all this.
More.
But definitely more than what I paid for the topsoil. But I'm worried I'm gonna fall apart at some point today because I'm in pain.
I like how at one point you said, "Did you have anything you wanted to talk about?" Only sports. I mean, it was just lame sports, just dumb lame sports. It wasn't anything else.
What did you do? You started to say what you did today. You can't wait to tell me what you did today.
Well, I just love it in contrast. I have this written out, and I'm not even sure I was going to bring it up. What did I do today? I went to meet my friends Gary and Fred. Gary Nucciarino is going to the National Cards. I've got some stuff for him to take with him to Chicago, assuming I don't go, which I don't plan to, but I'm sort of thinking about it. So I met them at a coffee shop, hour and a half, and then I went home, took the dog out, wasn't much, had some grapefruit juice. And then I thought, we're alike in a lot of ways. This is not one of them. You might rather have done what you did today than this. It's not even fantasy related.
Was there math involved in what you did?
Almost.
Okay, yeah, then definitely I would have rather done what I did.
I had the thought, how many games in Bills history are scoregamis? How about that?
Mm-hmm.
And then there's no easy way to find out. The only way to find out is to look up literally every game score in the history of the NFL and see which ones only have one and then which ones of those are Bills games. That's what I did. Didn't take as long as your thing.
Not only would I
didn't sweat.
Rather have done
anything.
what I did, like if you told me I had to do what you did, I think I would just empty my pockets and walk into the lake.
Yeah,
I would just walk, just like
Bulldog. Listen, this is your boss.
I'm walking. I'm underwater. I'm dead. That's it. I'm dead.
Mike is trapped under something heavy. I need you to do one thing today. Look up NFLScoreagami.com and how many singles are Bills games. The number's 18, by the way. I double counted.
How does that stack up around the rest
of
the league, Mike?
I didn't do the rest of the league. How dare you? That was your job. I didn't do the Titans. But I found 18 games active. Right? Because if somebody else comes along and plays a game that ends 38-38.
Oh, right. Okay.
Then that
it gets
Bills
taken
game is off the list.
It's taken off the list. Okay. I see. Yeah.
It could go up, too. I mean, if you win 70-2 or lose 70-2, that you're going on the list. That's a new one.
Yeah.
But there are 18 games in Bills history. There's no segue. There's 18 games in Bills history that the final score is the only such final score in the history of the league.
I wonder if that's a lot.
I do too. I mean, they go back to 1960. What was happening was I started from the top. If you have ever been on that website, NFLScoreagami.com or .org, whichever it is.
I've never been there because I work with you.
Well, okay. I mean, I don't take every week off.
I do not mean that as condescending at all. Like
I go from the top. So how many games where one team was shut out? Were scoreagami means there's only been one such final score in the history of the league. There was one game that ended, I think, 72-41. Washington, New York Giants. That's it. That's the only 72-41 game that's ever been played. There are 18 Bills games that are this unique by the final score in the history of the league. So I go from all the shutouts to all the, I mean, there is a way where you could finish an NFL game with 1 point. I don't think it's ever happened, but there is a way to do that.
We have talked about this, I think, yeah.
A 2-point safety and reverse. There's a way to get 1 point. That's never been the case with the Bills, if anybody. and then the 2s and the 3s and the 4s. The Bills have 3 games in which they scored 5 points that are unique scores in NFL history.
One of them right
off.
The famous
when
Tampa,
you lost the money.
famous Tampa. Oh, okay. Wow. What was that?
The year you had the 14-team parlay
right.
that came down to Bills-Chiefs.
Bills-Chiefs, yeah.
38-5.
That was 38-5?
Yes, it's such a great score. 85.
No, you got wrong. That's the wrong year, I think. I don't think that.
Oh, that was 1993.
Yeah, wrong.
What
year.
was that score? Like 31-0 or something like that.
31-0 or 31-6 or something.
2003.
Yeah.
Is 38-5.
Yeah,
on a Sunday night in Kansas City.
We're together for 38-5. Yeah, this thing with the bet predates our relationship.
You would
by
know.
20 years.
It's your money. You would know. 38-5.
Yeah.
You were going to say Tampa.
38-5. Tampa 10-5.
10-5
in 88.
88.
Yeah.
Very
that
good.
38-5 game, I remember. It's so funny the things.
The celebration. Nate Clements. They're getting. I mean, it's 38-5. I don't know what the score is when it happens, but it's a game that feels like it's going to end 38-5. Like the whole time, they're just getting clobbered. Don't you love it?
And at some point in time, when the Bills are losing by 21 or something, like there's an overthrown incomplete pass, and Nate Clements is doing the whole no, not in my house. I was like, dude, you are super talented. I kind of like your swagger.
But what a loser.
What are you doing with no, not today? What?
Hey, he's a Buckeye. Watch out. I got my Buckeyes visor on today. Careful there.
God.
No, that's true, though. I agree with you on that.
Oh,
Never do that. Never do it, ever.
I remember that play, and I can't remember stuff from last year. That's
normal.
It just stands out so much to me.
Isn't that normal?
I hope so. Yeah, I hope so.
I could rip off 80s, 90s champions like nothing. But last 10 years, I don't know. Didn't Kansas City win a couple? I don't know. Maybe.
This might be horribly embarrassing. The morning show today had spent some time on their version of the ESPYs, basically. I think that was maybe during the All-Star break, probably. So last week, one day, the actual ESPYs happened.
Wow.
So Joe, Jeremy was off. So Joe, your nephew Joe, and my son Owen. Wow. Anyway, they spent some time on that, and they put up polls for each of the categories they had, and it was play of the year candidates. And one of the plays of the year that they were asking for listeners to vote on was a play I do not remember at all from the Bills-Jaguars playoff game.
Ooh.
It was a long, I think it said long, Allen to Cook's long pass against Jacksonville. And I was I almost went to the play-by-play of the game to try to remember. I did in the Twitter search engine, just whatever, it's Twitter. I just asked Cook's Allen long pass, and of course the Denver play comes up. I tried with Jaguars, I couldn't find it, and then I gave up because I had to go to the store and buy not the right amount of topsoil.
Not even close.
Not even close. Egregiously bad miss. Anyway, I can't remember a big play, a play that they're talking about as one of the plays of the year.
Well, you know what?
And I don't remember it, but I got Nate Clements in 2003 saying, hey, not today. It's weird.
Not today.
Not today.
Sit down, son. That was incomplete. Well, I think it's a little bit life, and I also think it's a little bit where we're at with the Bills. I wouldn't completely beat yourself up for this lack of being able to remember a play from the Jacksonville game. I'm the same. I have no idea what you're talking about. I watched it too.
Thank you.
I have no idea what that is. But I'm thinking so what was the play of the year? I don't know. Can you think of any particular play from last year that would qualify as a candidate? I don't know if I could. I mean, I think, and I think it's, again, this is what happens when you get older, and it's just it sort of runs together, and earlier memories are more indelible. I also think it's the fact that the Bills are now in an existence where it's just kind of like all about the playoffs. Although that was a playoff game. It was a wild card game that they won for the 6th year in a row. When I think of the Jacksonville game, there's one play that comes to mind. Lawrence going down early.
Uh-huh.
That's it.
How it ended is easy to remember for me. Tre'Davious White interception. Like that I remember.
You got me on that.
And I might even say that maybe that's a play of the year candidate. This catch would have been 36 yards, and it's not a touchdown. So now what I want to do is circle back to analyze the morning show. Because
I'm in.
How is that on the list of plays of the year?
Well, what else is on the list?
Did he tip it to himself 6 times, eluding the defender or something?
I used to do that in the yard.
Yeah, of course, we all did. I did it in my living room with a tiny little football. I would tap it up and it'd roll
That's
around.
how you could avoid being tackled.
My parents must have been so worried about me from a very early age. I'm going to forgive myself for not remembering this play because maybe it's pretty nondescript. I don't know how it ended up on this list.
Is there even like an Allen play? I mean, you've got the one against San Francisco that's 2 years ago.
That's 2 years ago,
You've
right.
got jumping over guys,
Right.
catching passes,
Right.
different things. The Pittsburgh one where he pretends to slide and then just keeps running. Is there even an Allen play from last year?
I don't know. I feel like 2 plays that come immediately to mind are both Christian Benford plays from
Pittsburgh?
last year. Pittsburgh and Cincinnati.
What's Cincinnati?
Cincinnati is he's blitzing. He jumps up. He swung the whole game. Like he bats the ball.
Where was I?
I think he didn't even bat it. I think he just caught it. Like Burrow tried to get it over him. He caught it and took off.
I like that guy.
I think that started their comeback in that game. Or it was a big swing in the game. And the Pittsburgh play, obviously, they were losing, and then they were never trailing again after he made that play.
Right at the beginning of the third quarter.
Yeah, that might be to me, those are the 2 plays from last year that stand out. And it does mean that we do maybe to an extent take Allen a little bit for granted. That I don't have a play from last. I'm sure he did ridiculous things. He always does. But the 2 plays I can think of are both defensive plays.
I think this might be interesting for anybody listening to comment on. Like, when I'm looking at last year's Pro Football Reference page by the scores. So I went to week 5. I went to New England, the home game, the Sunday night game against New England with my son. And what do you remember from that game? Diggs and Drake May.
Drake May
and
rolling to his right and throwing towards the Bills sideline. Diggs down like at the Bills 10 or 12 yard line.
Yes. I can see there's a Curtis Samuel touchdown in that game that was kind of like right in front of us around the left end. It looked super easy. But, I mean, they lost, so I guess this is appropriate. But I think of certain like New England highlights from that game. Mm-hmm. And I heard the winning field goal in my car. We left, early. We left mid fourth quarter or something like that. So I have to cop to that. But Houston, Atlanta, Miami, all road games where I wasn't at work, and I can remember things going wrong for them in those games. Mm-hmm. I think that's a little bit on me. Certainly I'm not that way about all of Bills history. I don't only remember the bad plays.
Right.
But it's also kind of like the Bills are, if you will, only news when they lose anymore. Like it's only sort of memorable in the context of going for a Super Bowl when they get beat. And so Denver, that's Marvin Mims. It comes to mind, certain Denver plays that I remember. And then the interception, of course, where they only have, that's the last time they have the ball in that game. But it's not how they scored. Like it's Allen turnovers that I can, if I had to really get pressed on what do you remember from that game, it's things that didn't go their way.
Yeah.
So I don't know if I should
more
be
so
upset about that
Yeah.
or be embarrassed about that, but it's just how it is.
Well,
Cincinnati, I've got nothing. 39-34, I've got nothing. You're telling me about this Benford thing. Oh, okay, yeah, that's right. But they scored 39 points and I missed it. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah.
Ask me about 1989.
When you're going to go
Cincinnati, they won 24-7. I sat in this section. It's already been demolished. And I remember watching Chris Collinsworth on the sideline and Boomer Esiason and the fans chanting, Norman, Norman. Like that, that's fresh. That's 37 years ago. What good does that do? Anyway, scoregami.
Yeah.
They've lost 3 games where they scored 5 points that are unique scores in NFL history. The third is the game in Indianapolis when Allen had just been injured as a rookie and Derek Anderson played, and they lost 37-5. A game that I remember for Warren Sharp coming on the show at the 11-day power play earlier in that season, saying the best bet in the league this year for a single game is Indianapolis -3 against Buffalo in week 8, whatever that was. They won 37-5. So hopefully he did well. Okay, well, I don't know where we go from here, but we'll go somewhere. 803-0550 for your calls. I had a Sabres topic. Bulldog doesn't even know.
Well, I can't wait.
Going into mulch bags and scoregami.
No mulch, it's topsoil.
Oh, sorry. That's different?
Yeah, it's dirt, not like wood chips. Okay. Yeah.
Okay, that's
You plant things in
I wasn't
soil.
kidding. What do we have? Connor Rogers, assuming he's not listening and has already canceled. That'll be at 4 today, and Sal at 5. Mike Schopp and the Bulldog here, 803-0550 to join us. Isn't it fun? Isn't that a fun idea? I think it is. Thanks for listening. This is WGR.
For more comfort.
Now's the perfect time to make yourself comfortable with a new electric heating and cooling system from Belknap.
In Western New York, summer and winter bring extreme temperature conditions. Make yourself comfortable with Mitsubishi electric heat pumps, designed to keep your home cool in the summer and warm in the winter, no matter how hot or cold it gets outside. Call Belknap today to learn more.
I'm Gary Garfel, president of Belknap. We work on your schedule. We don't charge more for weekends and evenings. That's why we say,
give Belknap a ring.
We're alike in a lot of ways. This is not one of them. You might rather have done what you did today than this. It's not even fantasy related.
Was there math involved in what you did?
Almost.
Okay, yeah, then definitely I would have rather done what I did.
I had the thought, how many games in Bills history are scoregamis? How about that?
Mm-hmm.
And then there's no easy way to find out. The only way to find out is to look up literally every game score in the history of the NFL and see which ones only have one and then which ones of those are Bills games. That's what I did. Didn't take as long as your thing.
Not only would I
didn't sweat.
Rather have done what I did. Like if you told me I had to do what you did, I think I would just like empty my
you just kill
pockets and
yourself.
walk into the lake.
Yeah, you just kill yourself.
I would just walk, just like
Bulldog.
all right,
Listen, this is your boss.
I'm walking. I'm underwater. I'm dead. That's it. I'm dead.
Mike is trapped under something heavy. I need you to do one thing today. Look up NFLScoreagami.com and how many singles are Bills games. The number's 18, by the way. I double counted.
How does that stack up around the rest
I don't
of
know.
the league, Mike?
I didn't do the rest of the league. How dare you? That was your job. I didn't do the Titans. But I found 18 games active. Right? Because if somebody else comes along and plays a game that ends 38-38.
Oh, right. Okay. Then
that
it gets
Bills
taken
game is off the list.
It's taken off the list. Okay. I see. Yeah.
It could go up, too. I mean, if you win 70-2 or lose 70-2, that you're going on the list. That's a new one.
Yeah.
But there are 18 games in Bills history. There's no segue. There's 18 games in Bills history that the final score is the only such final score in the history of the league.
I wonder if that's a lot.
I do too. I mean, they go back to 1960. What was happening was I started from the top. If you have ever been on that website, NFLScoreagami.com or .org, whichever it is.
I've never been there because I work with you.
Well, okay. I mean, I don't take every week off.
I do not mean that as like condescending at all. Like
I go from the top. So how many games where one team was shut out? Where scoreagami means there's only been one such final score in the history of the league. There was one game that ended, I think, 72-41. Washington, New York Giants. That's it. That's the only 72-41 game that's ever been played. There are 18 Bills games that are this unique by the final score in the history of the league. So I go from all the shutouts to all the, I mean, there is a way where you could finish an NFL game with 1 point. I don't think it's ever happened, but there is a way to do that.
We have talked about this, I think. Yeah.
A 2-point safety.
And make a decision. You know, we see him very often. He trains at our practice facility in the off season, and we'll await his decision, but he knows that our door is, you know, it's always open, and he's a Blackhawk at heart for life, even if he's not wearing our jersey. But, you know, we've got a great deal of reverence, respect, and love for Patrick Kane, and so we'll leave him to that decision, and we'll see where he ends up when that day comes.
This is the general manager of the Chicago Blackhawks speaking, Kyle Davidson. Patrick Kane, I guess, there continues to be speculation about whether he could be a Sabre. I very much hope he will not be one. I think it's not interesting in any way. You?
I'm not as dug in, dead set against it as that. I don't love it, but to me, it would only happen if something else happens. And that trade-off might be worth it to me, right? Like, I think if they divest themselves of a couple of players in a Connor Hellebuck trade eventually, then I think I can find a place for Patrick Kane. Like, if I move Jack Quinn, say, in a Connor Hellebuck trade, then I might have help my power play. Like, I get a veteran that's won cups. There's an appeal there. I'm not sure about him skating 5-on-5 with his team, but the power play stuff might offset that enough that you could get me there. But it's mostly, to me, to make room. Like, I was tweeting about Vincent Trocheck last night because there was some account that I follow said something about that trade and reference how the Sabres were thought to be interested in that. And I trust very much that they were. But I think it was contingent on a space opening up, like a Ryan McLeod being involved in a Connor Hellebuck trade. I need a third-line center now. Okay, let's go get Vincent Trocheck. And they obviously didn't make that trade, and Trocheck ended up going, where did he go? Anaheim? I can't remember where he went. He went somewhere. So I think you could get me into Kane only from the convenience of making a bigger move is really how I would end up there. Because I think they would have a need if they trade, you know, 2 rostered players and some other stuff for Connor Hellebuck, then I might have room for Patrick Kane.
Robertson's out.
Right, that happened. 1-year deal. Well, that's
1 for 12.
Right.
I'd take it. I'd take a 1 year.
Yeah, and
$12 million deal.
And they can
seems great.
The way the rules work, they can revisit that after January 1st and extend him and keep him, or he's going to get walked right into UFA, which, that's great for him. So he's betting on himself.
So they're pushing off the conversation with him. Then.
He'll hope to go score 45 goals and then be a free agent and get $20 million next summer. Well, that's probably where we'll be at, right? I mean, we're at $18 million now for Carlson. I read today that his young teammate Cutter Gauthier, is expected to come in around $17 million. So if we're there on those guys, then Robertson is going to get $20 million next summer. The cap's going to go up again.
What does Allen make again?
Like 50-ish.
So Allen is worth 3 times more than, quote, Leo Carlson? That's how that works?
Now the sport is 300 times more popular.
Wow.
So
Allen's a bargain, which we knew.
Yes.
He's always been and will always be a bargain. If he wants to – who did we do this for once? He walks in and wants to double his pay. Who says no? I mean, do the Bills really – I mean, that's not a perfect example, but somebody like him, Mahomes, he signed for the record deal, ownership stake.
Yeah.
And then, that was the biggest bargain in sports, and then that got redone already. That's been redone already. Allen's been redone already.
3 times or more, maybe.
Yes.
Yeah. It happens all the time.
Yeah, not because of this point, but just because team incentives.
He helps. He changes the cap figure for the coming year, kind of thing. They just push it down the road.
Here's Greg with us. Hi, Greg.
Hey guys, good afternoon. Thanks for taking my call.
You're welcome. Thank you for calling.
Yeah, so I mean I agree with you that the trades are going to be really interesting over the next few weeks or so with Hellebuck and with Kane too. It's kind of like, there have been kind of 3 groups of people that have been involved in all these kind of discussions. It's obviously hockey ops, and then there's the national and local media, and then there's fans, and everybody has a different, perspective, of course. But I think I'm also curious of what the owner has a hand in, and then what even the marketing team. I think Mike, you said that last week when you're talking about when Mario Williams came to the Bills and what that did for just the marketability of stars. I was chatting with a friend and I was like, can you name me a time that the Bills, and the Sabres had their the most athletic or even best athletes of their respective sports if the Hellebuck trade goes through? So you have Josh Allen and Hellebuck on both Buffalo sports teams. I was like, when was the last time that happened? Could be Hasek and Bruce Smith. I don't even know. But I'm like,
that's a good one.
That makes the marketability of, I guess, this whole conversation even more interesting. So I'm just curious of your thoughts.
Okay.
There are people in this room.
He's not the best player in the league.
No, right. He's the best. He's arguably the best goalie in the league. I mean, there's competition
been the best
for
goalie in the league.
Right. He's been the MVP, which is the best player in the league. Right. So, but yeah, he's not the best player in the league.
So they would have. This is the closest I can get to the caller's point. They would, if they traded for him, giving up anything, they would have a former MVP on both teams.
Right. Which is, I don't know that that's ever happened.
Dom and Kelly or Thurman.
Yeah. Okay.
If that.
Yeah.
Yeah, like mid-90s.
Yeah. I don't know. There's not. I don't know that there's. Well, I know there's no MVP on at least 2 of these, but there's a man that I'm old enough to remember O.J., Gilbert Perreault, and Bob McAdoo all playing, and those are 3 studs in their respective sports.
Let me say this. This is what I was thinking about earlier before Topsoil got brought into the chat, and I mean that in the nicest possible way.
Thank you.
I enjoyed that.
Yeah, thank you.
Every day is a step closer to, maybe it's sort of made up, but a certain deadline where you just don't bother anymore.
Mm-hmm.
This idea that they could have or would have signed Patrick Kane if they had moved pieces is yet another, perhaps at least, reason to believe that they have wanted to do that. Or else,
right? What
are we talking about?
Same with the Trocheck stuff.
Same thing with that.
I absolutely trust that they were very far down the road on Trocheck enough to get him to agree to come here, but they had to make the other move. They didn't make the other move, and therefore the Trocheck thing didn't happen.
So, okay, like any team in any sport is always entitled to do that. I mean, you should be thinking generally, at least, that way. All right, well, what else can we do? Like, why take a minute off? I mean, you want to be thinking that way, but practically speaking, you really don't, because you get to a point where you want to just sort of get your team on the ice, and this is our roster, and we've got tweets with pictures and images, and these are the players. This is it.
Right.
And the Sabres are at a point where the vibes are good, and you really can't name anybody on the team that isn't true of. Even, I mean, who do you want to test it with? McLeod or somebody like that didn't have a great playoff. Really, like, they did so well last year in improving their image and getting fans back that, I mean, all of it works. Okay, you lost Tuck. All right, you traded Byram in a trade that most people objectively thought was really good for the Sabres overall. Okay, well, you're going to miss Tuck, but really, who holds anything against any of their current players, right? So you want to get eventually, maybe this isn't real. Maybe this can just take half the season or something where, like, Hellebuck is still on the front burner if he really was already. But yeah, I think more practically speaking, again, you want to be like a month from now, say, or by Labor Day, you want to know, Lindy comes in and the players start to come in. Like, this is the group. I think they want to do that. They don't want anybody left hanging, fans, players, coaches, on like who their number one goalie is going to be.
Right.
So there is some, I think I can only say probably, there is some line drawn where, like, all right, well, we're going this far, but then that's it. And I think it sort of makes sense to think that they have leverage in this if they want him, because if Winnipeg is intent on moving him, well, they're going to have to do that.
Right.
And maybe the Sabres think, well,
we can wait you out.
We'll wait you out.
No.
But can they wait him out forever?
No, right, because you do have the players you are counting on. If you don't make the trade, some of them are in, especially the goalie. Look, Luukkonen is on another team, whether he goes to Winnipeg or not. Like, if they make a Hellebuck trade that doesn't involve Luukkonen, he's going somewhere else. Like, they're not going to have him here at his money with Hellebuck here. I mean, there's just no way that's happening. So he's got to be sort of, wants to be squared away at some point as you're getting closer to training camp. And same for any of the guys that are in the mix as far as the being involved in the trade package as well, like McLeod, Quinn, whoever, Mertka. Not that he's coming here necessarily; he's going to go to Rochester, but still, yeah, there's a lot of people that their professional lives are just sort of hanging on. Is this ever going to happen right now? And that's not a great place to be heading into a new. You want to get it done before you settle in, like you're saying. Like, everybody gets here. You're not going to make that trade 3 days into training camp, I don't think.
No. I mean, marketing is not why you do it, but it's not nothing. They make a trade for Hellebuck, and by Monday they have jerseys in that store that cost $10 to make, and they sell for $400. You sell 100 of those a line out the door. It's $40,000. Like, you're printing money. And is it why you make moves in sports? No. But there's some value to it.
Something to be capitalized on for sure. Yeah.
Like, that'd be a great looking jersey.
Oh yeah.
His name around the number with the 37.
Mm-hmm.
That's a great fit. Number and name together. Not everything is for the aesthetics. So, yeah, I mean, I think there would be the sooner you make that trade, the better for the organization in the offseason and sort of keeping yourself on the radar and selling tickets. I went in yesterday, so today is the day they went on sale, single games.
Right, I saw an email. Yep.
And I looked at, so the first home game is against Chicago on a Saturday night. Didn't bother with that. I looked at the second. This is Minnesota on a Monday or Tuesday. The next week is the second home game is against Minnesota. Okay. Get that Tuesday night against Minnesota out of the way.
Mm-hmm.
And tickets in the fifth row, they wanted $169 each. I passed. I'm not.
Okay.
I mean, we might be almost to what you spent on Game 5 of the first round. I mean, we're not. Probably we're not.
No, I don't
but
think so.
But it's Game 2 against Minnesota. Like, I'm not doing that.
Yeah, right.
I jumped right. I closed the tab immediately.
Yeah,
when I saw that.
That's $350 with fees and everything, probably, or more. Even.
At least.
That's a lot.
So, those are. Although maybe he doesn't play. Hellebuck doesn't play that game actually. He plays the opener in Columbus. He gets the home opener Saturday, and then we get Alex Lyon for Game 3. Right? No offense, Alex Lyon.
Right.
He did a great job.
Yeah. I don't know. Is there a day off in between there? Maybe.
There's a day off.
Right, well,
he's not going to play them all.
Right, but still.
The following week, you have the arduous Montreal-Toronto-Montreal trip. You know about that?
No, I've not really sat and looked at the schedule.
That's what they do the next week.
The only thing I know about the schedule is that there's a chunk of games at the end that are all Atlantic Division games. Maybe like their last 5 or 6 or so, and then maybe like 8 out of 10 or something are all Atlantic Division
like
games.
Football a little bit.
Yeah, right. I don't know that they did that with intent, if like teams all around the league are doing that, but that's how their schedule shook out. They got a lot of Atlantic at the end.
So the second full week or the third week of the season, they go to Montreal, then Toronto, then Montreal.
How many days? Like
Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday.
Wow,
maybe
that's a cool trip.
What's up with that?
I don't know. It's a little.
Why would you do that?
It's a little odd, but
and that's it for Montreal for the year, on the road.
On the road in Montreal, right?
They play 2 games there. They're 4 days apart with a Toronto game in between.
Early in the season too. Wow.
Right away.
Yeah, so maybe they're not a part of this end of the season thing.
Well, they're not a part of it in Montreal.
Right, that's for sure.
And the 2 Boston home games are both very late. They might be both of them.
Yeah, I think that's the
thing you're talking about.
I'll get it here. The schedule it's right over there.
Oh yeah, that's what that is?
That's what that is. Yeah.
Next to that, does that thermostat work?
Jesus, no.
What is that? Is that an alarm system? I've got boxes like that in my house that do nothing. What is that? What is that brown thing?
It's a thermostat.
Is it?
Yeah, the dial.
Play with it.
The dial is torn off it. There's no temp.
That was there before I was hired.
Oh yeah, that came with the building.
It came with the building.
Yeah, that was here when I walked in the door in whatever 2000 or whatever year.
I only laugh because I have these at home.
Right.
I'm no better than this. Connor Rogers coming up. What are we talking about with Connor? The Jets? You're into the Jets now?
Jets,
You're Mr.
really,
Jet?
anything you want.
Cam Scadaboo's backflip.
He's big in the fantasy space. Like you can go anywhere you want with Connor.
Cam Scadaboo's backflip for the Giants.
Yeah.
That, oddly, I mean, he landed on his butt.
Yeah.
But as might have been brought up on ADP Chasing last night, what a wild night, his stock is rising from it. Because he's not, broken. He's able to do or attempt backflips.
And even miss and maybe even fold his surgically repaired ankle under his body weight and land on his butt and still be okay.
He's moving up like a round already from that somehow. Connor Rogers, Sal Capaccio later. Mike Schopp and the Bulldog, WGR. Reverse, there's a way to get 1 point. That's never been the case with the Bills.
We've been living in sin so long, all the feels are gone. Fella stopped me on the street last night, said everything's alright. Roller coaster, make it through the day, alright. It seems your meal ticket is gone, but life goes on. I could never imagine something better. Yeah, right. Now you're cooking on high heat in the middle of the street. Roller coaster, take me to a better time. Let's go. All sing your high line with the roller coaster of life. Yeah. It's time to all choose your timeline on the roller coaster of life. You You seem to easily forget how to place your bet. When everyday life gets you down, you gotta steal the crown. Got to own it. Don't bitch and moan about it, please. God forbid you scrape your knees, and it's nothing to sneeze at. Oh, I've told you over and over again. You gotta get both hands around it and make your own plans. Roller coaster, it's taking over. It's about time.
Jets, Giants, AFC East. The Giants, parentheses, the Giants are not in the AFC East, as I want you to know that I know that, and hopefully you know that. Now you do. Now there's no escaping the reality that you've heard that the Giants are not in the AFC East. Training camp a week away. It's next Wednesday when it all kicks off.
Righto.
So we'll talk to Connor. We'll talk to Sal later about that. Maybe I'll get back to this scoregami nonsense that I spent, a little bit of time on earlier today, looking up all the unique Bill scores in NFL history. There were 2 last year. They won both. Tampa and Baltimore. Not in that order. We're both, what? Is it raining again?
No, I'm just trying to make it out of the segment with only having said, righto.
Well, sorry. You did more than that in the end. Connor Rogers after the update here on WGR. and then the 2s and the 3s and the 4s. The Bills have 3 games in which they scored 5 points that are unique scores in NFL history.
You know
one of them right off.
The famous
when
Tampa,
you lost the money.
Famous Tampa. Oh, okay. Wow. What was that?
The year you had the 14-team parlay
that
came down to Bills-Chiefs.
Bills-Chiefs, yeah.
38-5.
That was 38-5?
Yes, it's such a great score. Any 5.
No, you got wrong. That's the wrong year, I think. I don't think that.
Oh, that was 1993.
Yeah, wrong.
What
year.
was that score? Like 31-0 or something like that.
or 31-6 or something.
2003.
Yeah.
Is 38-5.
Yeah,
on a Sunday night in Kansas City.
We're together for 38-5. Yeah, this thing with the with the bet predates our relationship.
You would
by
know.
20 years.
It's your money. You would know. 38-5.
Yeah.
You were going to say Tampa.
38-5. Tampa 10-5.
10-5
in 88.
88.
Yeah.
Very
good. That 38-5 game, I remember. It's so funny the things.
The celebration. Nate
Clements. They're getting. I mean, it's 38-5. I don't know what the score is when it happens, but it's a game that feels like it's going to end 38-5. Like the whole time, they're just getting clobbered.
Don't you love it?
And at some point in time, when the Bills are losing by 21 or something, like there's an overthrown incomplete pass, and Nate Clements is doing the whole no, not in my house. I was like, dude, you are super talented. I kind of like your swagger.
But what a loser.
What are you doing with no, not today? What?
Hey, he's a Buckeye. Watch out. I got my Buckeyes visor on today. Careful there.
God.
No, that's true, though. I agree with you on that.
Oh,
Never do that. Never do it, ever.
I remember that play, and I can't remember stuff from last year. That's
normal.
It just stands out so much to me.
Isn't that normal?
I hope so. Yeah, I hope so.
I could rip off 80s, 90s champions like nothing. But last 10 years, I don't know. Didn't Kansas City win a couple? I don't know. Maybe.
This might be horribly embarrassing. The morning show today had spent some time on their version of the ESPYs, basically. I think that was maybe during the All-Star break, probably. So last week, one day, the actual ESPYs happened.
Wow.
So Joe, Jeremy was off. So Joe, your nephew Joe, and my son Owen. Wow. Anyway, they spent some time on that, and they put up polls for each of the categories they had, and it was play of the year candidates. And one of the plays of the year that they were asking for listeners to vote on was a play I do not.
Today, the Bisons, they had themselves some early afternoon action. They took down Rochester 9-2. And for the Bisons, Max Scherzer was on the mound today. He went 5 innings, and in that time gave up no hits and struck out 7. While in the majors, we've got some doubleheaders today. Game 1 of Yankees-Pirates, that one is still going on. Pittsburgh is up 4-3 in the top of the 10th. Game 2 of that doubleheader is scheduled for 7:05. And then also having a doubleheader today, Game 1 is in the books. The Red Sox have officially won 15 games in a row. That is now tying the club's all-time record. Game 2 against the Orioles, and potentially the 16th game in a row, which would be the official record, is scheduled for 7:10. And then to our one-offs tonight, the Mets are at Milwaukee. The Mets do currently trail that one 3-2 in the 5th, and then the Jays host Tampa Bay at 7:07. To football, the Bills rookies did report to camp yesterday. We'll get more on that, plus the latest around the NFL. Sal Capaccio coming up in about a half hour at 4:30. And coverage of training camp on WGR is presented by Figo Car and Joyce, your border attorneys, and by Outlet Liquor. When you need to stock up, it's the place to buy a case. What's your outlet? Speaking of camp, both Panthers and Cardinals, their veterans reported today, as that is going to be the matchup in this year's Hall of Fame game on August 6th. They are the first teams to have their veterans report. And then the Seahawks, they have placed running back Zach Charbonnet on the physically unable to perform list as he continues to recover from his offseason knee surgery. That's your Paddock Chevrolet Sports Update. Paddock Chevrolet with you for the extra mile since 1935. I'm Zach Jones for Western New York's Voice of the Fan, WGR.
It's Mike Schopp and the Bulldog.
I don't love Junior Mints. I just don't hate them. I don't understand why they are treated like second-class candy.
It's Mike Schopp and the Bulldog
Oh,
there's a
you don't
fantasy
understand why
team
a
name.
candy that is basically toothpaste wrapped up in stale chocolate is treated like a second-class candy. All right, I get it. It's a good, valid question.
It's Mike Schopp and the Bulldog.
Is there time to change? You know, the 3 teams I've drafted this year, second-class candy is pretty good.
On WGR Sports Radio 550.
You know, I'm a little bit in my own head right now. Last night, ADP chasing, 2.5 hours those guys dragged me. 2.5 hours, Bulldog.
Dragged you.
Yes. Oh, absolutely, that's what happened. And the chat, I don't, like, you know, I kind of stay out of that. But the chat was very much convinced that I was high.
Oh.
I don't think I've ever been high.
That's not a
in my life.
That's not a thing you partake in that I know of.
On last week's show, it was discussed how I've never had a cigarette, and then last night, I guess I just was a little bit off to the 4,500 people or so watching. Yeah. Humble brag, and like people thought like I was high. I'm not sure today so far I have done anything to disprove that. It might sound this. I don't know. Like I think I'm a little bit. Excited today for some reason.
I don't know. I mean, I set a weird tone by walking in with the topsoil conversation. You know, so
it's your fault.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm a little.
I'm up.
I'm kind of frantic, and maybe you're reacting somewhat to that. I feel very like all my nerve endings are because I'm exhausted.
Yeah, maybe the Scorigami research did it to me. Right. That was my way of getting high. I don't know. I don't think I've ever been high. When did it happen? If it happened, I've been sick. I've been drunk.
Not now.
No.
Right,
I feel great.
Good.
Connor Rogers with us on the West Her Hotline. Been a while. Connor, is it true? Congratulations might be in order to you and your family.
Thanks, guys. It's right. Summer of our first child. We have a baby boy. In June, it's been amazing, and now I get to induct him into. Let me be honest, I wasn't going to make him a Jets fan, but I was told by the rest of my family that it would be insane, considering how big a part they are of my work and personal life, that I have to. So, sorry to my son Cameron, he's stuck with it. I guess.
Sorry in advance. Now, this may or may not be a serious thing we're talking about, but. I don't know. I would say, if you were to ask me, which you haven't done yet, which I think is totally normal and fine, that you sort of let him figure it out, right? Like, I never had any particular intentions of raising my kids to be Bills and Sabres fans, and it really didn't happen until this year with the Sabres, and that got really exciting. Kind of everybody around them in school was falling into it, and so it happened a little bit that way. But, yeah, I mean, with the Bills over the years – I don't know, Bulldog, when your sons were born, this might have been a little bit like this with the Jets, where like,
yeah, for sure.
I don't want to push it.
I never, Connor. What's interesting, like you're probably working during games, and once your son is old enough to be watching, if you're not there, they won't. They won't watch. I was gonna tell my wife, make the boys watch the Bills game. You know, that seems insane to me. So I'd go to work. And my kids had no idea at all what was happening with the Bills until Owen got to be into his late teens even, I think, and then started paying attention. You know, pretty good point of entry. Josh Allen showed up, and that all worked out pretty well for his fandom. But it would always be notable to me that I'm not there. Like, how did I fall into watching the Bills and the Sabres? I did it with my old man. Like when I was 5 or 6 years old, I started watching because, he didn't work in media, so he was home watching the games. And I just wanted to be with my dad. I'm going to watch the games. My kids didn't have that because I was working during these, at least with football.
Or mine.
Or Mike's. So you might have the same thing. Your kid could end up not caring about football at all.
It's a great point, and that's fine. I mean, I joke around, but I'm also serious. That's totally fine with me. Right. My plan was that the non-negotiables were going to be, well, he was born on day one of the NBA Finals, and I was holding him when the Knicks came back in that game. And, so, he at heart, he just has to be a Knicks fan because it was the start of his life, and it was so special. So that's an easy one. And then I am home to watch the Rangers all the time, and my in-laws are huge, huge Islanders fans. So he's a Rangers fan. I can't give that to the other side. So does my wife is a huge Islanders fan too. So I need a Rangers fan with me. So that's great. The Mets, I mean, I'm scared to put that one on them, but I think it's naturally just going to happen considering how much they're on in our house. Me and my wife are both Mets fans. The Jets was the one because of how much I work in football and specifically around them and how bad things have been. I was going to kind of let him forge his own path. Now, there's going to be some hard rules. You can't just go root for the Patriots or, the Giants or something like that. But I don't know. I don't know, guys. I think it's just, unfortunately, you might just be doomed in that way.
Well, you've got a couple of minutes before you have to decide.
Right.
And, you're in the fantasy space. You could be like me mostly. I just say mostly to protect myself, where you just root for your own guys. You just root for your stats. Maybe. I mean, I know how that sounds.
But maybe they'll be good by the time your boy's watching. So, things can change.
They can.
I was of the thought for a while of, it's just never going to happen. And then what happened with the Knicks recently has actually brought us all back to life, that things can change. Right. It's very, very funny how that goes. You just need that 1 ounce of hope.
Connor, I mean, of course we all know how long the Jets have the longest playoff drought in sports, right? I mean, 15, 16 years.
Yeah, in sports.
The Sabres decided rudely
they were tied
got
with
good.
the Sabres, yeah. So now they're
the Sabres ruined it for the Jets.
Yeah.
Can you see a good season? We've been talking about them, the usual amount in the same division as the Bills, and I think Bulldog and I can both see the Jets being, to use one word, plucky this year, where Geno's not bad and the skill position talent's at least pretty good, if not really good. Offensive line better. Can you see a good season?
I don't know, it's hard to define good, right? Because good to me would mean that they're in the hunt for the playoffs when that graphic pops up in November or whatever it is. And it would just really surprise me if the Patriots and the Bills aren't at the top of this division, and then, the Jets and the Dolphins fall underneath, and that puts you in a tough spot right out of the gate. But can they be annoying and competitive? Will the losses be better? And I know it's such a bad way to talk about it. I guess for me, I look at it quite simply like this, guys. The roster is much better. I mean, they signed a lot of higher floor signings in free agency compared to what they had last year that fit the scheme. They've added a lot of players through the draft. They're bigger. They're more athletic. I think Frank Reich as an offensive coordinator will be an upgrade typically of what they usually have. Can they be a middle-of-the-pack offense if Geno stays healthy? The big problem that makes me pessimistic about them is the record as a whole. Because a good season, can they win 8, 9 games, even 7? We have no idea if Aaron Glenn can coach. And last year was a borderline abomination for a large part of the season. And, obviously they had serious quarterback limitations. Fields, he wanted Justin Fields, so that's on him. Playing Brady Cook, an undrafted free agent rookie, as long as they did, is a different scenario. So that's the question we need to answer. And if he doesn't need to take a baby step forward from last year as a coach. He needs to take about a triple jump. And that's the big one that I get hung up on when people always ask me, hey, how much better are the Jets going to be this year? We really need to see how that plays out.
Yeah, I've been saying, Connor, when we talk about the Jets, I feel like if Geno Smith is capable of having a middle of the pack type season, 15 to 20th best quarterback in the league, they might be decent. The skill positions are, I think, pretty nice. I like Cooper a lot. I mean, he's a rookie, we'll see, right? But Garrett Wilson is nice. The line looks decent. Breece Hall, even A.D. Mitchell, I can kind of get there. The tight end stuff is good.
First round pick.
Yeah. So, I mean, and I'm usually, the way this show usually goes, Mike is usually the one who falls for the Jets. And
yes, what a proud moment for me.
I'm sort of squatting on that parking spot this summer because I don't think they're going to win 10 games or anything, but I think
right.
they might be swinging back up finally.
I think the way you guys probably are looking at it, following the Bills as closely as you do, maybe this is the year where you go into it and you're like, hey, the Jets aren't 13-point underdogs against us this week, right? It's more like, hey, this can be decided by a score. You can't just kind of look over this one on the schedule all the time. I do think the offensive line, if they're going to outperform expectations, that's going to be an anchor of the team. They really like both of their offensive tackles, and Joe Tippmann they just extended on the interior. They think that can kind of correlate with the, not only the run game, but throwing the ball down the field with Geno. So that's what's going to be interesting is it feels like they finally have set some kind of floor on offense when they never have one. And the defense, I really think they have guys that just fit the scheme better and aren't Robert Saleh's holdovers for the most part. But, it's just Aaron Glenn has a lot to prove because I think as an organization, they like the direction this roster is going in, and they're going to take a quarterback in next year's draft, and they think he's going to be walking into a better situation than typically what they have. But we know how much coaching – you guys know more than anyone how volatile your coaching can kind of bring to your team in the NFL.
I think the Jets were kind of jammed on Glenn. It's 1 year. For what it's worth, the guy had a good reputation with the organization and maybe with the fan base as a popular player, as an excellent player. It's insane to me that they couldn't intercept or didn't intercept one pass, especially when your coach is Aaron Glenn, who was a great, I think probably mostly great defensive back. But, you don't want – it's a disaster when you fire a coach after 1 year, Like Arizona's done some of that, and you don't want to do that either. So I hear you when you say he's got a big triple jump to make this year, but I don't know that I would have done different as the Jets. And how do you feel about the play and getting him in there? You need somebody, right? You want to be somewhat serious as an organization, and there are only so many guys you can get for that. And so enter Geno Smith, who, like Bulldog is talking, Connor, I think too, that he might be somebody credible enough where you can have a respectable season.
Yeah, they had a fine line to walk this year where you look at it and you're absolutely right to your original point. Like firing Glenn, as bad as things were, one, there was so many teams. I think a third of the league was looking for a new head coach this offseason. Where would the Jets' job have ranked? They would have had a really tough time getting anybody that you're really excited about or feel like is proven. So that's problem number one. And two, you don't want to have that level of turnover. You do want to give the guy a shot, once again, with guys that fit better with what he wants to do. He wants to be bigger and heavier on defense. And then the Geno side of it is, and it feels like the early returns in OTAs from the pass catchers and all those guys is that, they feel like he could be competent and he could challenge at all three levels of the field. And Frank Reich likes him as a traditional pocket passer. And they feel like, unlike the Raiders last year, which their offensive line play was egregious, from the fact that I think it was Pete Carroll's son coaching the unit to, what they put out there, the Jets feel like, and you just can't have a poor offensive line for a pocket passer like Geno Smith. It's just going to be an absolute disaster, and it was. They feel like that's one of their strengths, is the pass protection of their offensive tackles. They're 2 first-round young offensive tackles. So they needed a pro in there. Geno's not going to be, a top 12 quarterback, and can he be, even like 18th to 22nd? There were so many weeks last year where, and I hate to pile on Brady Cook, but it's like he might be the 68th best quarterback in football this week. Like that, like there's,
I love how you said that. I love how you said that.
That's kind of how you look at it, and and to be fair to him, there's so many scripts where they're losing right out of the gates, and then they're in a throw script, and so the bar for Geno to clear here is to not lead them to the promised land. As much as we make the jokes about that, it's just, hey, can you be a functioning offense that leads the team to competitive games, and what do those things look like? And I think a sneaky move for this team is drafting D'Angelo Pons because of his championship pedigree in the secondary and the kind of fire he brings, and hopefully some takeaways, and he kind of, a lot of easy resemblance with Aaron Glenn, style-wise, size-wise, speed, ball skills. I think, I definitely think the young nucleus they've drafted lately is where they're trying to turn this thing over in a big way.
I just have to say, I love how you put that. Nothing against Brady Cook. He might be the 68th best. I'm over here like, how many? 32 times 2 is 20. So, yeah, point taken on that one. With Connor Rogers, SNY, NBC Sports, Mike Schopp and the Bulldog here. Well, AFC East, Connor, it's like after last year, the Bills and the Patriots. I keep trying to, not even as a fan, just sort of objectively trying to keep thinking of ways where I can take the Patriots in as just a good team and not a great team, but they add A.J. Brown and, cap room to spend on, and, maybe I'm having a tough time making the argument against New England. Do you see it probably as a 2-team race? Do you see separation between the Bills and Patriots?
No, I think this is a 2-team race. I haven't written out the season and made picks yet, but my gut tells me I'll pick the Bills to win the division. Just naturally, it's weird to say you get like the new coach bump, but you do in some kind of way. I think that there's obvious regression at play for New England, who I agree with you, they'll be very good. They've had a offseason filled with turmoil, not the players, but, everything around the coach. And I don't know if that'll truly trickle into September, but there's no denying and running away from that. I think I have questions about their offensive line at times. Like, this isn't a pat on my back. It's more of I'm still watching this very, intently. I didn't think Will Campbell was a tackle as a prospect. Mm-hmm. And nothing I saw last year, and I know a lot of people like to point out that he was banged up, and, they're sticking by him as a franchise tackle. And that, with a young quarterback, that can, I don't want to say sink you because they're not going to be sunk, but it's something I'll be watching very, very closely as they've stubbornly stuck by that, and they want to see how it goes because he was a top 5 pick. And they're really talented on defense. They have continuity. You're right, they bring in A.J. Brown. But there's a reason that everybody thinks Josh Allen's the best quarterback in the league. And, at the end of the day, the Bills have to be feeling like, okay, this is a division where somebody else is completely caught up. And like you said, the Jets could be a little bit more annoying this year. I get the Dolphins are in total rebuild, but Malik Willis, when healthy, is still going to be a pest in terms of the playmaking he can make. So it just feels like, I'm not saying the Bills weren't locked in last year because I don't believe that at all, but I think there'll be a different level of them being locked in this year where they'll find a way and they'll be ready for the version of New England that they see this year. And, New England did benefit at times from the schedule last year. It's not to take away from their season, but I just think there is some kind of regression due in that situation.
Yeah, and hopefully the Bills are poised to capitalize on that and take the crown back. There's a lot of new here, Connor. We've got you're talking about the Jets and like overhauling the personnel on defense to more fit what Aaron Glenn wants to do there. I'm wondering if Jim Leonard's going to need next season to get to that because there's guys putting on weight and trying to change roles, and they're going to a very different schematic situation than what they had under McDermott for 9 years. So you can't overhaul all that personnel in 1 year. So that's one thing, and then you've got a first-time head coach who certainly is familiar with the personnel. There's continuity there. But at the same time, it's the first time he's got that job to be in front of the whole room, commanding the attention of all those guys. And I'm not assuming that all goes great, but Josh Allen is a pretty good eraser if it doesn't, I guess.
Yeah, that's what I fall back on, is that you can afford the luxury of everybody getting comfortable schematically on one side of the ball when you have a superhero at quarterback, that he's going to go take care of certain games himself. And I don't think anybody has any questions about that with Josh Allen, especially during the regular season. I'm a big Jim Leonard fan, not even going back to his time and how smart and responsible he was as a player for the Jets during the Rex Ryan years, but what he was able to do as a coordinator at the college level. I think he's innovative. I think he is really, really good with defensive backs on the back end, limiting explosive plays. And I think that, they were kind of just due for something fresh. The one thing I will circle with the Bills, and I'm curious how you guys feel, is I'm always surprised how they handle edge rusher. I don't know if Bradley Chubb is at this stage enough. And I guess there's only so much you could do. There's only so many moves you can make. But, we know in this division, when you look at it down the board, what's the thing you have to do against the 3 quarterbacks you see? And it's sure any quarterback, but specifically, you can't let Drake May and Geno Smith, especially those 2 guys, hang in the pocket and throw the ball down the field. Malik Willis is a guy that can not only throw down the field but get out of the pocket and make plays. I'm very curious. I think what Leonard can bring is dialing up exotic pressures rather than just having to fall back on the personnel to get it done.
That is what I have been saying when asked this question. Like, I don't think maybe the one guy, because it's a newish, talking about the scheme, Gregory Rousseau maybe he's freed up playing as a true edge rusher, but I don't know that he's got the game or the moves to really be a guy that is like, a hellraiser coming off the edge. But I think they might get more pressure overall. I don't think they're going to have suddenly a 12-sack guy on their team, but they might get more sacks just simply because of the exotic blitz looks and just different stuff that Leonard wants to do. And that's the most optimistic I can get for them being better at that, is that the scheme helps it more than the personnel, I think.
Yeah, that lines up with what I think as well. And I agree with you. Maybe it'll take a year to really look like what it's supposed to, whether it's adding more players or guys just getting comfortable, developing young players. But I think at the end of the day, they know that they're going to win by outscoring the opponent with their high-powered, not just quarterback, but offense as a whole. And I just wonder if we get the, and I love Drake May, but do we get the MVP runner-up season again from him? Or is he more of the, maybe the ninth best quarterback in the NFL? Because we've seen how much that could fluctuate. Like, it's funny when you think back 2 years ago, everybody thought Jaden Daniels was going to be the next, Lamar Jackson or whatever it may be. And he gets hurt and everybody kind of forgot about him already after just one down year of being hurt. So it's just that can how much quarterback fluctuates for everybody else, not named Josh Allen and usually Mahomes and Stafford. Like, that can really kind of flow out the season in a little bit more fluctuation compared to what the Bills have to deal with, maybe the Chiefs have to deal with, stuff like that.
Connor, before you go, thinking through a fantasy lens here for this one, back to the Jets, would you invest in Breece Hall? I have a lot of friends who want to every year, but I've read about different, scheme, maybe misfits with him, and also this or that about Isaiah Davis and Allen and the other guys in that backfield, the three-headed monster stuff. I don't know. It's a little bit, not scary, but I'm a little bit uneasy just sort of feeling confident that Breece Hall is finally going to have that big year. If the Jets' offense is good, maybe that happens. How good do you feel about his season ahead?
It's always a tricky one with Breece, right? Because I guess the positive side of it feels like at cost, that's become a better situation. You're just not spending in the price range anymore that you used to with Breece, where it's like, oh man, if the Jets stink and he's sunk, like I'm just totally lost now. It feels like there's a little bit more of an upside kind of play, but less risk where you're taking him. I guess what I'm optimistic on is I think Geno should throw him the ball, and they should actively get the ball in his hands in the pass game this year, especially after they paid him what they paid him and all of that. I think what I always worry about is more than other people is not really the Jets situation as a whole. Breece has been really banged up over the last couple of years, and after paying him, it's not like they're going to be extra careful, but they want a number two back in this offense so they don't just wear him out by mid-October. And I think people always draft Breece Hall saying, I got one of the workhorse backs of the league. And I'm just a little skeptical on what his usage will actually be to earn that. But the touchdown equity should at least be much better this year. So I don't think I'll be drafting a ton of Breece Hall shares because it's just how many times can you get burned by it. I think I'd be more, if I'm spending in that range, Garrett Wilson will just get peppered with targets in this offense at an insane rate. And then good luck figuring out who the number two is in the offense, the pass game, and the Jets offense. That's another area I wouldn't spend. So, yeah, I guess I'm more out than in fantasy, but I think as a pro, Breece will have a solid year in actual football.
Okay. Omar Cooper Jr., who was a first-round pick, is like a 16th-round fantasy pick. Nobody's even sort of, awake to him. So if you do end up doing that, at least it didn't cost you anything. If you get a month into the season, he's got 20 targets or something like that, you got to move on. At least it was cheap. All right, Connor, congratulations again. You're friends with young Simperman. We're going to have his dad on tomorrow.
Yeah, the old man's coming on with us to talk about his cosmic hockey launch, which he's very excited about. So we're going to find out all about.
They're always up to something.
Oh
those
yeah,
guys. You got to really tip your cap. It's truly impressive, and it's just absolutely great dudes.
Totally right. Thanks again, Connor. Enjoy the rest of your summer.
Thanks, guys. Let's talk soon.
All right, Connor Rogers with us on the West Her Hotline. Sal coming up next. Bills camp a week away. Mike Schopp and the Bulldog, WGR.
Remember at all from the Bills-Jaguars playoff game.
Ooh.
It was a long, I think it said long, Allen to Cook's long pass against Jacksonville. And I was like, I almost went to the play-by-play of the game to try to remember. I did in the Twitter search engine, just whatever, it's Twitter. I just asked, Cook's Allen long pass, and, of course, the Denver play comes up. I tried with Jaguars. I couldn't find it, and then I gave up because I had to go to the store and buy not the right amount of topsoil.
Not even close.
Not even close. Egregiously bad miss. Anyway, I can't remember a big play, a play that they're talking about as one of the plays of the year.
Well, you know what?
And I don't remember it, but I got Nate Clements in 2003 saying, hey, not today. It's weird.
Not today.
Not today.
Sit down, son. That was incomplete. Well, I think it's a little bit life, and I also think it's a little bit where we're at with the Bills. I wouldn't completely beat yourself up for this lack of being able to remember a play from the Jacksonville game. I'm the same. I have no idea what you're talking about. I watched it too.
Thank you.
I have no idea what that is. But I'm thinking so what was the play of the year? I don't know. Can you think of any particular play from last year that would qualify as a candidate? I don't know if I could. I mean, I think, and I think it's, again, this is what happens when you get older, and it's just it sort of runs together, and earlier memories are more indelible. I also think it's the fact that the Bills are now in an existence where it's just kind of all about the playoffs. Although that was a playoff game. It was a wild card game that they won for the 6th year in a row. When I think of the Jacksonville game, there's one play that comes to mind. Lawrence going down early. That's it.
How it ended is easy to remember for me. Tre'Davious White interception. That I remember.
You got me on that.
And I might even say that maybe that's a play of the year candidate. This catch would have been 36 yards, and it's not a touchdown. So now what I want to do is circle back to analyze the morning show. Because
I'm in.
How is that on the list of plays of the year?
Well, what else is on the list?
Did he tip it to himself 6 times, eluding the defender or something?
I used to do that in the yard.
Yeah, of course, we all did. I did it in my living room with a tiny little football. I would tap it up and it'd roll around.
That's how you could avoid being tackled.
My parents must have been so worried about me from a very early age. I'm going to forgive myself for not remembering this play because maybe it's pretty nondescript. I don't know how it ended up on this list.
Is there even an Allen play? I mean, you've got the one against San Francisco that's 2 years ago.
That's 2 years ago,
You've
right.
got jumping over guys, catching passes,
Right.
different things. The Pittsburgh one where he pretends to slide and then just keeps running. Is there even an Allen play from last year?
I don't know. I feel like 2 plays that come immediately to mind are both Christian Benford plays from
Pittsburgh,
last year. Pittsburgh and Cincinnati.
What's Cincinnati?
Cincinnati is he's blitzing. He jumps up. He swung the whole game. He bats the ball.
Where was I?
I think he didn't even bat it. I think he just caught it. Burrow tried to get it over him. He caught it and took off.
I like that guy.
I think that started their comeback in that game. Or it was a big swing in the game. And the Pittsburgh play, obviously, they were losing, and then they were never trailing again after he made that play.
Right at the beginning of the third quarter.
Yeah, that might be to me, those are the 2 plays from last year that stand out. And it does mean that we do maybe to an extent take Allen a little bit for granted. That I don't have a play from last. I'm sure he did ridiculous things. He always does. But the 2 plays I can think of are both defensive plays.
I think this might be interesting for anybody listening to comment on. When I think I'm looking at last year's Pro Football Reference page by the scores. So I went to week 5. I went to New England, the home game, the Sunday night game against New England with my son. And what do you remember from that game? Diggs and Drake May.
Drake May and rolling to his right and throwing towards the Bills' sideline. Diggs down at the Bills' 10 or 12 yard line.
Yes. I can see there's a Curtis Samuel touchdown in that game that was kind of right in front of us around the left end. It looked super easy. But, they lost, so I guess this is appropriate. But I think of certain New England highlights from that game. Mm-hmm. And I heard the winning field goal in my car. We left, early. We left mid-4th quarter or something like that.
Bills rookies reported to camp yesterday. That was to Orchard Park, not yet to St. John Fisher. The vets are going to report next Tuesday. We'll get more on that, plus the latest around the NFL. Sal Capaccio going to join the show next, so do stay tuned for that. And coverage of training camp on WGR is presented by Fiegel Car and Joyce, your border attorneys, and by Outlet Liquor. When you need to stock up, it's the place to buy a case. What's your outlet? Speaking of camp, both the Panthers and Cardinals, their veterans did report today, as Panthers-Cardinals is going to be the matchup in this year's Hall of Fame game on August 6th. And with that, they are the first two teams to have their veterans report. And then the Seahawks, they have placed running back Zach Charbonnet on the physically unable to perform list as he continues to recover from his off-season knee surgery. Plenty of baseball today. We've already got some games in the books, including the Bisons, as they took down Rochester today 9-2, and Max Scherzer on the mound. He goes 5 innings, and in that time gave up no hits and struck out 7 batters. To the majors, Yankees drop Game 1 of a doubleheader with Pittsburgh 5-3. Game 2 of that doubleheader is scheduled for 7:05. And then also playing 2 today, the Red Sox. And they have officially won 15 games in a row, tying the club's all-time record. Game 2 against the Orioles, and potentially a 16th game in a row, is at 7:10. And then to our one-offs, the Mets are at Milwaukee. They do trail that one 4-2 in the 7th. And then later tonight, the Jays, they host Tampa at 7:07. That's your Paddock Chevrolet Sports Headlines. Paddock Chevrolet with you for the extra mile since 1935. I'm Zach Jones for Western New York's Voice of the Fan, WGR.
So why not, with Sal on the line here, throw this out to you guys? Not that it's really so much a question as just an interesting fact. Sal Capaccio with us on the Western Hotline. Just in this break, I do this a lot now. I just run out to my car. I'll even move it closer, like I just did, for something to do, but just to get some steps in, get some fresh air. And I turn the car on, and it's on the Sirius XM Fantasy Channel. And they're talking about Josh Allen and his props for this year. And apparently his touchdown, I don't even know this from having looked, his touchdown pass prop is 24.5. And one host said, why wouldn't you go over 24.5? He's never not done that in the last 6 years. And the other guy said, well, here's why. Literally, his touchdown pass total has gone down 5 years in a row since his peak of 37 in 2020. 37, 36, 35, 29, 28, 25. Like, that's tough to do. For as much winning as they've done, that's kind of tough to do.
Yeah.
So I don't know, Sal, as Sal joins us once again here on the Western Hotline, what do you feel like is maybe in the wind for Allen and his numbers this year? Are we looking at a season where things sort of return to maybe, if you will, the good old days with him? I mean, over 4,000 yards and maybe in the 30s and touchdown passes, that kind of a season? Or is this more of a trend you feel like you can trust that those numbers, not because of his performance necessarily, but they have gone down pretty consistently over the last few years?
I think it's pretty circumstantial. I mean, they have the league's leading rusher. He's great at the goal line running. He's had double-digit touchdown rushes over the last few years, 15, 12, 14. So I understand, like, you're betting the prop, and the prop is the passing touchdowns, and that's what it is. But I think it's just kind of a little more random kind of thing when it comes to maybe how they get in the end zone from where they are. Are they from maybe the 4-yard line is a pass? You get to the 2-yard line, it's a run, right? It could very well be those things. But you guys know what one of the things that I've said for the last while here is I do think that Josh Allen will have an uptick in numbers, and maybe that includes both in the positive and the negative. So that could be more attempts, more yards, more touchdowns, more interceptions, because I just think that Joe Brady's not going to care as much as Sean McDermott did about let's not lose the game before we have a chance to win it. Let's care about who the other quarterback is on the other side and not give them the ball. And That's not to say it's too conservative, but it is a bit of a conservative way to think on a game-to-game basis, and I don't think Joe will think that way.
So maybe the circumstances will change, right? Like
correct.
Yeah, and I've been saying like maybe there's a chance with the defense being so new and whether they've got all the right pieces to put in all the right places for them that maybe they get dragged into, even if they don't want to throw more, maybe they feel like they have to if they have to keep up in some games because their defense, they've got a tough schedule. They got teams that are going to be able to score points on most teams. And if the Bills' defense is, below what it's been, that usually leads to more throwing, and that would be, therefore, more numbers.
No, that's a great point. I agree with that. If they have to play from behind, right? I mean, it's possible that, the defense suddenly just, oh, my God, Jim Leonard's unbelievable. Look what they're doing, and they're playing with the lead more. And all this kind of matters. You know that, Mike, from playing as much fantasy as you do, that you have to kind of think about maybe some of the quarterbacks who are playing in those circumstances where they have to throw the ball more and get more numbers and get fat. So I just think that's a weird way to kind of handicap it, but it is an interesting stat. There's no doubt. I wouldn't give it much credence, I guess is what I'm saying, that he's gone down in touchdown passes every year. I mean, so that means just keep going down and down. I think that number would be one that I would bet over. I'll tell you one thing he does every year. He's available. He plays. That when you're talking about a lot of these guys, you have to think about that. And, Josh has played and he will play. He's going to play through whatever he can. And I think that always gives him more of a chance to hit those numbers.
We're out here getting James Cook and other guys, Ty Johnson. They're like an attempt at least at records and milestones in Week 18. Maybe Allen for once could play more than one play in Week 18. Wouldn't that be nice if he could go for, maybe this is the year he turns the streak back around in terms of touchdown passes. Although, of course, it's, just fine if the Bills end up not needing that game the final week. Well, yeah, some of this is the schedule and some of this is defense. You talk about circumstances, Dallas, Cincinnati,
right,
Arizona last year, teams where from a stat standpoint, everybody got rich, but those weren't winning teams, right? So you don't want to have that happen either. Well, Sal, we're a week away from training camp, and it's still a week, but what for you might be, as you walk in there next week, the top storyline? Last night I was on with ADP Chasing, that show, and pointed out, I brought the stat up about Coleman, that nobody has more touchdown catches for the Bills over the last 2 seasons than Coleman does at 8, he and Shakir. And Brady's going to get more questions about Keon Coleman than anyone else. I'm not sure that's true. What do you think will be the lead story or two when camp starts?
Of the organization or the roster?
I guess
because
Brady,
to me
right?
because the organization, it's Brady. Brady himself is the lead story.
Yeah.
Right? Jim Leonard's a big story. So if you're talking roster, though, which is what I think you're talking about here, I mean, that's probably something that's a big deal. I think DJ Moore, specifically about DJ Moore and what kind of mentality it's going to be to, have him in this offense. Everybody eats and, that kind of thing. And you guys know I've said Caleb Elam-Zor at linebacker is a big story to me, but how much does that resonate? It's an inside linebacker. People like the juicy stuff, the sexy stuff. That's the wide receivers. That's the guys touching the ball. There's no contract situations that, like James Cook was a big story last year. So it's probably wide receiver. It's probably DJ Moore. And I would say even to a little lesser extent, maybe Dalton Kincaid at tight end and staying healthy. And, how much are these guys going to be able to really, elevate their passing game with Joe Brady as the head man now?
Yeah, it's so interesting. I feel like, not that I predict that Brady or anyone will get temperamental about being asked about Coleman, but at some point we're going to have to recognize we're talking about the Bills' 4th or 5th receiver right now. That's who he is. His draft status and the benching and all the stuff. Of course, and the owner's words about it, and then Brady's words on top of that, sort of trying to offset it, has made it such a focal point. But yeah, Kincaid is a way more pertinent to me idea. Can he play more than 40% of the snaps? Do they get into camp wow, he's healthier than he's been since he's been here? The knees are good and that, because he was a killer for them when he's on the field and they target him, but they just can't use him for a variety of reasons. And if that changes, That's a huge upgrade, I think.
So, Mike, you had Ryan Paganetti on, right? Correct? A couple weeks ago?
Last Wednesday. Mm-hmm.
You told me about him, so I went and found him, and I, looked at some of his stuff.
There's a lot there.
And one of the things that he had tweeted about, and then I quote tweeted it because I thought it was super interesting, was this very topic, which is he has a graphic on run pass tendency by tight end when teams are 11 personnel. And the way he broke it down was take the team's top tight end as far as usage and take the team's second tight end as far as usage. If that tight end, either the top tight end or the other tight end, is the only one on the field on first or second down, how much are they passing?
Right.
So I went through the graphic. I went through the list. Okay, so a couple things about this. The Bills' top tight end as far as usage, because obviously of Kincaid's availability, was Dawson Knox last year. And when they went with just one tight end and it was only Dawson Knox, they threw 58.6% on first or second down. We're not counting third, which is about average for the league. Right. Maybe a little bit above average, about average. When the only tight end on the field was Dalton Kincaid, the Buffalo Bills threw 79.3% of the time.
I was going to guess the number.
That is the number 70s. One top number of any tight end in the league.
Yeah. Which is exactly what teams loathe.
Right, being that predictable.
A tell
right.
like
That's
that.
correct.
Right.
That's correct.
Right.
And I quote tweeted him, and he wrote back and said that's something the Bills need to look at.
Yep.
Because obviously, if he's the only tight end on the field, you're tipping your cap as far as what's happening here, right? But it also gives you a window into what they feel about Dalton Kincaid and him in the passing game and what they can do, or maybe him in the run game and what he can't do, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, for sure. I mean, like that's a monster number. Almost 80% of the time when he's the only tight end on the field and they're in 11 personnel and it's him, they're throwing the ball.
Yeah, it just screams. We don't want to waste his limited snaps on having him
Correct.
do a thing he's not that good at anyways, which is block.
This has always been the thing. Whether he's injured or not, this has always been the thing. How do they sort of make it work? It's an easy idea, Kincaid. He's always been, okay, sure. I've got a seam stretcher. I've had Diggs at the time. I've got all kinds of different options. But now I got a tight end who can get down the field. Great. Well, bumps into Shakir, bumps into Knox. Now you're this running team, and where does that leave you? The thing. This is the point about quarterback sneaks too. With the 70 straight sneaks to the left, anything with the Bills and their offense is like, okay, well, they don't have talent at wide receiver. They're obvious when it comes to Kincaid. They always sneak to the left. They win constantly.
Right? Yeah, that's right.
It's like, how much better would they be doing if sort of these loggerheads were like not
it makes you wonder
problem.
how much they're really giving away with these things that look like obvious
They're
tells.
so tough to beat. Allen is so tough to beat. You like this, talking about their wide receivers, again, last night on the podcast. So one of my co-hosts ran down their entire depth chart and ended on Max Tomczak at wide receiver. I'm like, well, you guys aren't going to know who that is. Nobody knows who he is, but you'll know his uncle Mike. I mean, Mike Tomczak, dead silence. None of my three guys knew who Mike Tomczak was.
Oh, my gosh.
How much younger than you are these people?
They're mid-30s.
Wow.
But he was like into the mid-90s. That's 30 years ago.
Yeah.
And they didn't know who Mike Tomczak was.
Right.
I'm like, Jacob, you're a Colts fan. He roughed up the Colts in a playoff game for Pittsburgh. He's like, yeah, no. I started with Peyton Manning.
Wow.
I felt like I was on an SNL skit or something, which happens a lot to me on that show.
Right.
Like, oh, you don't know that name?
Is this why everybody thought you were high on that show?
Maybe. I don't know what to do with that. Maybe.
Well, Sal, I think, I mentioned the thing about Coleman. The conversation isn't going to go anywhere, of course. But
right.
I want to pivot to, I don't know that we've talked because we've been vacations and you and I, we only talked a couple of times while Mike was away. One of those was for a couple of hours when you were kind enough to take the time to join me. But like the Brandon Cooks thing, like the Tim Graham piece for The Athletic a couple of weeks ago, where Cooks talked about wanting to be in a camp. He doesn't want to come in at the end. Like, very contrary to what you might think a veteran guy wants. Like he talked about wanting the calluses that you build through camp. Like, I wonder if the Bills, maybe that's just his way of trying to turn the heat up on them making a call on whether he's going to be a part of this or not. But I wonder if they would ever have a mind to just bring him in ahead of camp, before Josh Palmer has a hamstring or knee problem, or before Coleman oversleeps. Not that any of that has to happen, but we've talked largely about Cooks in that context. Does someone give them a reason to replace them with Brandon Cooks? Like, I wonder about just bringing Brandon Cooks in, and, if the money's modest enough, maybe just bring him in.
They could. I think they probably feel like what snaps are there for other guys to, like the guys we have, if it all works out, these are our guys. So we need reps. We need snaps. You bring in Brandon Cooks, you're taking that away. He's not taking snaps away from Ja'Cory Macklin or Max Tomczak, right? I mean, he's going to probably take snaps away from some of these guys on the upper end of the depth chart. Mm-hmm. So just kind of the way this generally works is you're going to want to wait a little bit and see if that doesn't materialize and you need someone there. But certainly, Bulldog, if you feel like he could help you in any capacity, it's an option, and you're always leaving the chance for another team to do it. And then, there's an injury to somebody else's camp and he gets signed and you're like, oh man, I guess we should have done that. Right.
Yeah.
And that is the risk that you take.
I mean, right now, looking at their depth chart, it's Moore and Palmer on the outside, Shakir in the slot, obviously. Moore and Palmer. The next two are Coleman and Mecole Hardman Jr. Like, wouldn't you rather have Brandon Cooks in that Mecole Hardman Jr. spot, even though Cooks doesn't return punts? No.
I don't know. Maybe. You're not asking me. You're asking
I'm asking the room.
I'll have my chance
whatever.
later.
Yeah.
I'll have my chance later. It's close.
I mean, yeah, well, Trent Sherfield, right? I mean, I think he's part of this.
He's
too.
He's the next layer.
How soon you forget
Shavers.
Quentin Skinner?
Yeah.
Skylar Bell?
Skylar Bell.
Well, yeah, but he's behind Shakir on the depth chart,
right?
The way, in the slot.
Yes,
so.
that's correct. That's correct. And on a true, like, if you're gonna just slot them, no pun intended here, into a depth chart, that's probably right. But I mean, you could move these guys around. That's right. I do think that Trent Sherfield has a legitimate shot to make this team, though, as the Tyrell Shavers replacement until Tyrell Shavers is ready.
Right.
So that's what you're probably looking at there. But you're right. I mean, Mecole Hardman, return man, and if he can really show you he can do something there, then he becomes a guy you could put on the field there. Yeah, I like Brandon Cooks here, and I thought that, he's saying all the right things. You guys know a few months ago I said on the podcast, and we talked about it here, that I could see Brandon Cooks being on this team at some point. I still can. I just feel like they want to see what they have on their guys before they go down that road.
Thank you, Sal. Talk again soon.
Okay, guys, thanks.
That's our Sal Capaccio on the Western Hotline. His appearances are brought to you by New York's only outlet, Liquor. When you need to stock up, it's the place to buy a case. What's your outlet?
Speak now or forever. Do you want Brandon Cooks back? Mike Schopp and the Bulldog, 803-0550. This is WGR. The Pirates beat the Yankees in 10.
Yes.
5-3. And the Red Sox win again.
15 in a row.
15 in a row. Not enough to get you to that MLB TV.
Only one other time in their 126-year history have they won 15 in a row. They have another game in a few hours to set an all-time record.
Did we say that was 1948? Or is that a different streak?
I'm not sure.
My great-uncle beat them late that year. And they lost the pennant by 1 game. I mean, I don't know why I put a target on my back like that.
That son of a...
Cliff Fannin for the Browns.
That did come up yesterday, but I don't remember if that's the year they had the 15-game streak.
48 Red Sox?
Yeah.
Paul will know.
Who?
Paul. He was out at the ballpark today watching Scherzer pitch, who apparently did great. Both of them probably did great.
Yeah,
Paul and Scherzer.
Yeah, bunch of strikeouts, no hits, no walks. Sounded like a pretty solid outing.
Sounds great.
Yep.
Mike Schopp and the Bulldog here. This is WGR.
Plenty of baseball today. We've already got a number of games in the books. Starting with the Bisons, they took down Rochester today 9-2. Max Scherzer was on the mound for the Bisons today. He went 5 innings, and in that time gave up no hits and struck out 7. To the games that are also in the books in the majors, the Yankees dropped Game 1 versus Pittsburgh 5-3. Game 2 of that doubleheader is scheduled for 7:05, and then also having a doubleheader today, the Red Sox have officially won 15 games in a row. That does tie the club's all-time record, and Game 2 against the Orioles, potentially a 16th game in a row, is at 7-10. To the NFL, we've got veterans reporting to training camp. Both Panthers and Cardinals had their vets report today, as that is going to be the matchup in this year's Hall of Fame game. That's on August 6th. They are also, of course, the first teams to have their veterans report. And then the Seahawks, they have placed running back Zach Charbonnet on the physically unable to perform list as he continues to recover from off-season knee surgery. That's your Paddock Chevrolet Sports Update. Paddock Chevrolet with you for the extra mile since 1935. I'm Zach Jones for Western New York's Voice of the Fan, WGR.
It's Mike Schopp.
Hey, put a little. I never get this line out the first time. It's not even good. Hey, put a little bit more in there, cowboy.
And the Bulldog.
What's your degree in?
Kicking ass and taking names.
On WGR Sports Radio 550.
Not like I deserve to be taken completely off the hook for 2 hours ago, but I think I'm going to try again to get into what I had in mind 2 hours ago, before we got, so to speak,
buried
mired
under
in the dirt.
topsoil.
Yes. Right. Exactly.
Well, it's a new hour.
It's always a new hour. Well, I'll start the conversation with just this short question. Is the Sabres past all behind them? So here we are. Today, you can buy tickets, single game tickets for the season. 84 games, 42 home games, unless some are in Prague or somewhere else. I don't think so, though.
I don't believe that happened.
Whether there are or there are not, it's just an occasion to try to find out and to talk about how much different fans feel than a year ago. As exciting as it all was, and unexpected, and even thrilling, it's 1 year. And I know for you, the Alex Tuck issue was one where you brought the past up a lot.
Yeah.
This is the kind of thing that the Sabres are known for, letting guys who are top free agents walk. And that happened. And there isn't any new version of Alex Tuck yet that's from outside the organization. They seem to want to go from within, which I think has merit. But I wonder if 1 year not erased all that damage that was done. Just what good did it do? I'm not saying that in a way that makes me. Telling you I think it's none.
I'm taking the question the way it's intended. I think. I hope our audience is as well. Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I think the vibes were so strong, just so off the charts, that I think that it for maybe the majority of fans, it doesn't have to matter. Their past, this is who they are now. These young guys are. We're not. I don't think anyone's being delusional about their potential. It just might be a lot to assume it's all going to happen right now because I need it to happen right now, as opposed to sort of easing into it. But maybe that's absolutely warranted. But I think the thing that I don't want to. I feel like I'm going to delude the question by talking and talking and talking.
I'm okay with that.
I think there's a lot of fans that, and I don't think it's the majority, but I think a lot of fans are out there going, Florida traded for Brady Tkachuk. Boston traded for J.J. Peterka. Montreal hasn't really done anything. They're maybe more like you, but the young guys they're banking on already. I mean, Demidov got a $9 million contract.
Toronto, though.
Toronto also. Tampa is just Tampa's Tampa. Tampa's going to be a 100-point team getting out of bed. I think they're still even losing Radish. I think they'll find their way.
They have the best coach,
and right, they might have one of the best goalies for sure. And they picked up John Carlson, which to me, on a short-term bet, probably will give them some. Maybe he and Radish will have the same point totals this year. I don't think Carlson goes there and scores 80 points or 70 points or whatever Radish had this year, but I'll bet they're comparable production players this year. So they've replaced him. I don't think Radish was going to do that again. Maybe he will, but anyway.
But expectations for Carlson will probably exceed whatever they were for Radish a year ago.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, because Radish was a lightning strike. Nobody saw that coming.
So if it comes close, you can't be blamed.
Right.
I mean, that's
not
crazy.
The rest of it is, Detroit's going backwards. Ottawa's going backwards. So I think your head is I don't think losing Tuck equates to losing Brady Tkachuk. It's close, maybe like production wise, but from he's the captain. I mean, my gosh, it was a big deal for them, and I don't know what sort of stockpile they've got. I don't know what their Hellenius Osland pile looks like exactly.
Ottawa.
So they might be going the wrong way too, but the other teams there around you, I think, are all making the effort to get better, and I don't know. I'm counting on these young guys to really come through big for me, and I'm also. Tuck, not for nothing, was 6'4", 220. Like, that's a big guy. And this is where I'm going to delude the question, but I think it's pertinent. They have acted like, since the trade deadline, they knew they needed more. Like, I believe the Robert Thomas smoke, and they couldn't pull that off. And, Parayko, okay, I mean, would I like to have him right now? Sure. But I didn't love it at the time. That I wasn't sure it really fit. But nonetheless, they've been looking, right? And they haven't done anything. They traded Byram away, and I mean, they cleaned Chicago's clock in that trade, but nothing about the trade made them better. They made a great trade. Golf clap.
What they did was two things. They enhanced dramatically their draft capital, and they got potential money issues off their table, off their desk.
It's a win of a transaction, but in the moment, does it make you better for 2026, 27? How? At best, I mean, I'm going to go, maybe I'm treading water, but I didn't improve this year's team. Maybe when Daxon Rudolph is here in 2 years, then I get the benefit of that. But that's why I was so eager to see them spin the 4th pick or the 20th pick into something that would, elevate them now.
Well,
so their past is pertinent because all they've done is lose important players, and they're hoping young guys are going to fill those spots.
This is something I want to kind of put carefully, but with due respect to Kekalainen and the Blackhawk trade and the season they had and everything, I mean, there's been a lot of optimism and excitement. In a certain way, it is very familiar, all of that. And those are not direct comparisons to past GMs and past Sabres stories, but acknowledging the Blackhawks thing, which was for, basically for draft picks and cap reasons. You didn't dislike Byram. No. You just didn't want to pay him $14 million.
He was super important to your team, and he didn't want you to pay him $10 million even. Like, he wanted to go somewhere and fly be free.
Right. So I just feel like even though it's the time of year where most of the time nothing happens in hockey, if it does, it's unusual. It really is the off season. It is familiar in the way that, Sabres off seasons have been familiar with other general managers. Like, sort of the do something meme is almost back. What it sounds like, and this is very Sabres, and again, I don't mean this disrespectfully to Kekalainen and them, but over the years, Kevin Adams, Darcy Regier, maybe quintessentially, if not Adams quintessentially, like you always had some tweet or some reason to think like they were working on something or they were close on somebody. Like that Adams was big on telling you that we're having these, so was Darcy, like we're having these conversations. We're not just out here twiddling our thumbs, like you might want to think, but we're close. And this was, for me, it didn't sit well when it came to Adams because like I that's a given. I need that to be a given that you're working on stuff. It's just a matter. It's not enough to just say that you are. You have to get it done. And are we getting to a point like, okay, Hellebuck or Robert Thomas or whatever Parayko represented? I mean, their deadline moves did not really help them.
No, if anything,
Carrick got hurt.
Yeah, that's right.
But
and that was helping. I think that would have.
They wanted to change their makeup on defense, and it didn't help them.
No,
like they could have maybe been better off without doing any of that.
To their detriment, I think. Yes.
And so Kesselring is gone too, if you want to put that on the pile, because that was somebody with promise and young and has size, and they just gave him away for nothing, mostly.
Yeah.
Like they moved up 7 spots or whatever they did in the first round. So I don't want to be pessimistic. I mean, I mean that for the entire offseason. We all loved last year, and there's a lot to believe in the the guys who are going to come up and play full seasons for them. Hopefully Kulik can stay on the ice and add to that. But I just wonder if are we it's a little bit of a familiar kind of pit in your stomach where you're hearing about all Hellebuck. It's usually him now. This different speculation, and it's not even something that necessarily people really want that badly. I mean, that's pretty split, I think, on that idea. And you can't just make moves all the time, and I recognize that too. But that's a more micro analysis of this situation, and do they need to upgrade goaltending? Do they need another big goal-scoring, a forward like what Tuck was? But it's also just like that factors into the bigger point, the bigger question about have we all, not all, but have you kind of moved on from the Sabres' unfortunate history when it comes to this stuff? I mean, they haven't done all bad, but like they're not going to be a team that is the number one destination for free agents. We know that already. We've known that forever. Can they get? Is it one thing that would do it? It depends on what it is. Like, can they do one thing here, whether that's Hellebuck or something else, something for Tuck that I don't think it's Patrick Kane, but something that kind of like pushes the whole thing forward in this way where like times are different. We're good. We're going to act like it. And we're not hamstrung by taxes or our history or anything like that.
No trade clauses or whatever. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think Hellebuck would even, I'm not going to pretend to know what people will think or are thinking, but I feel like a lot of people who are sort of maybe on the fence or even kind of a soft no on the, like, I don't know, kind of like me. This is me. I didn't, first time we talked about Hellebuck, it's like,
sure.
Right? I don't know. I'd rather you do this or this or this, but, but now it doesn't seem like this or this or this is coming, and Winnipeg still is probably in a jam with Hellebuck and would like to make something happen, and the Sabres might just be waiting for the right phone call to come in with the right, like, okay, what did you want to do again? All right, throw me this and we can do it. And they go, oh, okay, great. And it just happens, right? Just one day. Because I don't think that it shouldn't be a long thing. Like, I believe they were very close to getting something done for him. It got wrecked. And the timing just wasn't right. Maybe that's Luukkonen, I don't know, with the no trade clause or whatever. But I think there was they got close. The Trocheck thing tells me they were close. I think they were preparing to divest themselves of people that would make Trocheck fit. in a vacuum, I didn't like the Trocheck idea, and I still really didn't. It was a good choice to me. But mostly as their roster sat on free agency day or approaching, the trade talk, approaching the draft, they didn't have room for him. So why were they even talking to him? Well, because they were expecting to create room for him. So I think a Hellebuyck thing could happen any day. I think it'll have to be Winnipeg calling, because I think Kekalainen, when he came out at 4 o'clock on free agency day, he was mad. I think something happened there with Winnipeg, and it's like, all right, we're done. We're going home. I want everyone to know it. We're going home. And so I don't think that has to be an arduous negotiation at this point. But it's still, someone's got to give. And I think if they did that, I think even, like I'm saying myself, okay, well, you did that. Like, that's one of the best goalies, if not the best goalie in the league, MVP last year. All right, you're trying that to be your way forward, your improvement. It'll go over great, I think. I think independent, objective observers will go, wait, the Sabres just added Connor Hellebuyck? Okay.
I know. It will be so...
It'll be lauded.
It'll be lauded. It'll be so weird.
Yeah.
To people around the league.
So I think the fans that are maybe, like I said, a soft no on it will sort of get dragged into the rapids with it. Like, whoa, we got this guy. Oh, my God, the jersey looks incredible. I can't wait. Look at his mask. Like, it's, it'll get hard to breathe because it's so exciting that they did this big thing.
I'm not sure when we'll ever get, if we ever do get sort of the backstory on this, whether it happens at all or not. But I've always kind of thought like Luukkonen is a stumbling block in this because Winnipeg would need a goalie, but they don't have to want him to be the goalie. And he's a little expensive. If they're trading their franchise player, they might want to go younger. Levi is gone. Like, it could have been him, or maybe it was never him. But somebody, I still think the way to do this is 3 teams. But who the third team is. Like, we're at the point where most teams are pretty set with their plans. And so do the Sabres get stuck, or what is it? If they come out with Luukkonen, think about it. If they come out with Luukkonen opening night, on a scale of 1 to 10, how good does that feel? It's not a 10. I mean,
no. Say
what you want about Hellebuck's playoff history or his age. Come on. That's a great night.
No, that's a moment in the arena when he leads them
tickets
out on opening, the home opener, and he leads them out on the ice. That's a moment.
Wearing the gold medal around his neck to come on the ice for the opener against Chicago. I think that would probably be appropriate. Yeah, I mean, that they know this. The Sabres wouldn't not know this. I mean, just if somebody's in the room that has anything to say about this should be the owner. If he's on it. I know, scary thought perhaps, but think about what the difference is. Not to say that the people are down on Luukkonen. I don't think it's that, but it wasn't a great ending.
No,
the goalie thing, for as well as they rode that all the way to the bitter end. I mean, games 5 and 6, their starter got pulled.
Yeah, it was a strength all season, and then it was. I mean, each guy got pulled multiple times in the playoffs.
And 7...
That was not a strong part of their playoff performance.
Yeah, and then 7 ends the way it does, too.
Yeah, right.
Of course, Montreal's goalie got pulled in 6 when it was 8-3.
Right.
That's such a shame for the Sabres and the fans, that game can't really mean that much or
right.
do that much for you.
No, it's
7 straight goals to come back.
It's an afterthought to me. Yeah, it's John Tucker with 4 goals against Boston. Good job.
It's trivia.
Yeah, right. That means nothing. You didn't win.
Their Bet Online today or yesterday had hockey odds. The Sabres odds to make the playoffs -130, to miss +100. I mean, not quite a coin flip.
Yeah,
but it's not better than that. And I think some of that is the division they're in. We still haven't figured out a way to get into that Central.
Right.
Utah shows up and boom, you're in the Central.
Yeah.
Congrats. We can't get in there. No chance of that.
Right. Florida will be back. There's no question about that. So, who do they displace? Ottawa's an easy choice right now because I think they're in worse shape than Buffalo. Boston, I don't know. I know when we, leading up to the playoffs and even during the playoffs, like this team is not, I don't think, built to stay at 100-point level. But Hagen's barely impacted at all, and he could be a difference maker for them. He was a top of the draft player that fell, curiously, in his draft year. And still was a top 10 pick, but he fell. He was at one time considered like even the top pick, maybe. That might be too much. But anyway, it was curious that he fell, but there's a talent there. I talked to Paul while you were away because I heard him on draft night, absolutely clobbering the Bruins for the Peterka trade.
I know.
Just killing them.
He clobbered Utah for trading for him.
Yeah, and I sat in my truck listening. And it was one of those, like, I got home and he was still going. I'm like, I just want to hear how this ends. Like, I just sat there in front of my house listening to Paul, just make fun of
Lamb-based.
Yeah, lamb-based. So the next time I talked to him, I said, listen, I want to tell you, I heard you and I hear you. This is not a flawed player. He's not a 200-foot player. Like, I get it. And it didn't go. It went so poorly in Utah. They signed him to a big contract and just couldn't wait to trade him. So, okay. I think if Boston can live with whatever his defensive shortcomings are and he plays with Pastrnak, he's scoring 40 goals. Like, I think he's going to fill the net for that team, playing with Pastrnak and whoever their centerman is going to be. But the key is, can they live with him playing in that role against other teams' best players because he's such a defensive mess? I got a guy that I hang out with at More Room, Boston Chris. He's from Boston. He's
Boston
a Bruins
Rob,
fan.
only Boston
He's Boston Chris. And I brought this up to him when I saw him last, or a few times ago, whatever. I said, I love Peterka for you guys. I think that's going to really work. And he said, German coach.
Right.
German coach. He's playing for a legendary German hockey player now, and maybe that gets the light to go on to like dig in. So I don't know. That's a cast into the stream hoping to catch a trout. Maybe it works.
That's what a fan would say.
But I think
a knowledgeable fan would say that.
I think even if that doesn't come into play at all, I think he'll score. He'll score like crazy if he plays with Pastrnak.
803-0550. I did that recently myself, sitting in the car waiting to hear how something ended. Can I tell you?
Yeah, I'd like to know.
It was a Yankees broadcast, and I forget who they were playing or who the batter was. It didn't matter to me. Dave Sims, Susan Waldman. And the Yankees had a runner on second, and then they made their first out. And, announcers, for me, it's like always Charlie Steiner, or it's like Yankee announcers who just can't not be all about that batter's inability to move the runner up to third. Like, it's such a crime that they didn't move the runner up to third. So there was some of that from Dave Sims, and then with one out and the runner on second, he went back to it. Like, whoever's up now, he's got to move that runner up. What is the big deal about moving a runner up from second to third with two outs?
If you're making the second out in the process, that doesn't really help.
No. What do you want, a wild pitch? Like, there's no sac fly option anymore. You want a ground ball to second here? The other team would take that.
Yeah.
So I sat in my car to see if he would do it a third time. I waited out the inning in my driveway.
We are so petty.
Is he gonna make a third reference to how the batter didn't move the runner up from second to third with one out in the inning? Is he really going to do that? And he didn't. Even the second time, he sort of corrected himself. Got to get him up, get him in. Even he sort of did that, like he knew. So I'll give him that.
Big Dave Sims guy.
I'm not a big Dave Sims guy. I know. And I went to the guy who is a big Dave Sims guy. I told him about this immediately. Like, I am not a big Dave Sims guy. Listen to this. And he's like, I'm not even sure he's our friends, I'm not even sure he's a baseball guy. Like, it's his job. He's only done 1,000 games or 5,000 games. Why do you care if he moves from second to third with one out to go to two outs? You don't want that.
No.
You want a hit.
Yes.
How about just get a hit?
Yeah, that'd be good.
Drive him in.
Or maybe even a home run.
Even a home run would be fine.
I think that would count.
Would we mind that?
That would count for two.
Would we mind if he hit a home run? Is that bad?
That situation.
Would you rather him hit a home run to left or a ground ball to second? So, look at us. Both of us have recently sat in our cars to hear the end of things. Is this actually going to get better? I mean, not that you're saying that about Paul, but is he going to is he going to keep going on
how is
Paterka?
this going to end is what I wanted to know. Like, where does this lead? What does Brian say after Paul's done?
Yeah. He did that with me, too.
Oh, yeah?
He went hard on Utah. Not so much Boston, but the trade. Okay, well, there it is.
Some hockey, everyone.
803-0550. Is the Sabres past in the past? If you know what we mean by that. Lines are open for your calls. The update next. Mike Schopp and the Bulldog, WGR.
Plenty of baseball today, starting with the Bisons. They had some early afternoon action home against Rochester, and they do win 9-2. And on the mound today, Max Scherzer, he went 5 innings, and in that time gave up no hits and struck out 7. While in the majors, we've got some doubleheaders today. Game 1s are in the book. Yankees, they go up against Pittsburgh. It's a 5-3 loss for them. Game 2 of that doubleheader scheduled for 7:05. Then also having a doubleheader today, Boston. And they have officially won 15 games in a row. That ties the club's all-time record. Game 2 against the Orioles, and potentially a 16th win in a row, is at 7-10. And then our one-offs today, the Mets had also some early afternoon action. They fall to Milwaukee 4-3. And coming up later on tonight, the Jays, they host Tampa at 7:07. To football, training camp's really right around the corner. Panthers and Cardinals, they had vets report today. That is, of course, going to be the matchup this year in the Hall of Fame game on August 6th. They are the first teams to have their veterans report. And then the Seahawks, they have placed running back Zach Charbonnet on the physically unable to perform list as he continues to recover from his offseason knee surgery. That's your Paddock Chevrolet Sports Update. Paddock Chevrolet with you for the extra mile since 1935. I'm Zach Jones for Western New York's Voice of the Fan, WGR.
Caller 5 at 716-221-4WGR. That's 4947. Wins. I still hope that I'm right in adjusting this copy
yes,
to say they win.
You are.
Actually,
yes.
not just have a chance to win. Wins a $50 gift card to Connor's Restaurant, Seneca Street in West Seneca. Every Wednesday, score 4 Connor's Beef on Weck meals for just $55 or 1 for $15 because Connor's is better. 716-221-4947, caller 5.
Go get them, everybody.
The guy you reach out to when you spend a decent amount of time looking up every scoregami in Bills history is Andy Proven.
Mm-hmm.
Unofficial Bills historian, lives in Maryland. I met him at a casino. I met Trista and Andy Proven on the same day down there.
What a day.
What a day. And I said, just out of nowhere, it wasn't like no small talk, no platitudes, just the Bills are 9-8-1 all time in active scoregami games. And he just got back to me to comment. And I'm going to run these down and see which ones you remember and what you remember about them. It's 18 games.
Okay.
These are games where the final score, these are Bills games where the final score is the only such final score in the history of the NFL. For instance, so I went from the losing team score smallest to largest, because that's how the chart is on NFL Scoregami. That's how the chart is, like sort of going top to bottom. So the first one on my list is 1988, Tampa Bay 10, Buffalo 5. Remember this game? So do you?
Yeah, I don't remember a single thing about the game other than the score was 10-5.
How much it sucked.
And it was 1988 and what it cost them. I mean, it was Tampa was terrible, and they ended up having to go to Cincinnati because of it in the AFC title game in 88, and they lost, and it was, I don't know, not even that. Was it a good game?
This game?
No, the 88 title game.
Not really.
No, right? It was kind of like
they lost Bruce.
It was kind of like the game they lost to the Bengals in here 4 years ago.
Yeah, I mean they lost Bruce, and he was killing Munoz, and he got hurt.
Yeah,
21-10.
So
but
anyway,
they also lost their Week 16 game. The show has never sounded older than a reference to Week 16 being the last week of the season, but they were big favorites in Indianapolis,
right,
and lost that game too. A day after Cincinnati beat Washington in overtime, after Washington's kicker missed a chip shot. His name was Chip Lohmiller.
Yep.
That would have won it for Washington. And we wrote him a letter. My friends and I wrote him a letter expressing our disgust over his missed kick.
That's smart.
That was smart. That was time well spent. The letter to Chip Lohmiller.
Kelly gets hurt in that game, right?
No.
He doesn't?
No. Different year. The next year he gets hurt in Indianapolis.
Okay, that's 89, and he says
Howard
okay.
Ballard.
I was thinking that set the table for but it's the okay. Anyway,
No,
all right,
they really choked
right,
it in 88.
They were in the division. I was not thinking of them as division opponents. So therefore, that had to be when the bickering Bills thing, the die was cast. But no,
89.
They played them twice a year. So anyway, okay. So 10. I don't remember anything, any play, anything from the game other than it really hurt.
The Bills have 3 games in their history that are scorigamis, unique scores in NFL history, where they scored 5 points.
That is still
pretty
incredible.
They have the market cornered on 5-point scorigami losses. It's 10-5 to Tampa. 37-5 in Indianapolis in Allen's rookie year when he was injured and Derek Anderson played. And then 38-5 to Kansas City in 2003. 1987 strike year. During the strike and the replacement players, they lost to Indianapolis 47-6 at home. That's the only 47-6 game in NFL history.
Got nothing for you on that game.
In 1968, they lost to the Raiders 48-6. So if I'm going from top to bottom, looking up Bills games, so far I'm 0-5. Like the Bills don't have 10-5 wins. They have 10-5 losses. Loss. The Jonathan Taylor 5-touchdown game is scorigami. 41-15. Carson Wentz and the Colts.
That game I remember because I was traveling back from what year is this? Is this
21.
21. Okay, so I was traveling back from Wichita Falls, Texas. And I couldn't get the game on the plane, and it was in and out, and like I saw Isaiah McKenzie fumble a kickoff.
Right.
And then my Wi-Fi
scored on that.
My Wi-Fi went out again, and I was like, this isn't going well.
Right. So that's now working my way down the chart. I'm 0-6. The Bills are 0-6.
Well, they're going to go on a run
scorigami
in these scorigami games eventually.
And then the next one is the game during COVID in Nashville. 42-16. The Bills start great. Tennessee blows them out on like a Tuesday or Wednesday or something.
And it's what I remember about this game is that Tennessee had maybe at least 2, maybe 3 scoring drives that were like 20 yards or less.
Right.
The Bills just gave the ball away and Tennessee killed them.
Finally, I got to a Bills win in the scorigami search. 58-24 in Miami. Might have been the first time they ever played Miami, or one of them. 58-24. That score has never been duplicated.
What year is that game?
66.
66. Okay.
Nathan Peterman in L.A. 54-24 is scorigami.
Was there what was notable about that game? Did anything interesting happen?
He threw
in
5
that game?
interceptions in the first half.
That was it. I forgot that. Yeah, thanks for reminding me.
The game against the Dolphins, where the Dolphins, what?
That game was incredible.
I didn't work, or did I?
No, you did.
I watched at a friend's house. First half.
Oh, okay. I thought maybe you were across the street, but I was also at home. We did not. We came here, separately at halftime.
Okay.
And driving in. I mean, it was already dark, and just driving like, oh my God, I hate this show. I can't believe I got to go in and talk about this game.
Imagine,
oh my God.
Imagine benching a quarterback and having that happen and surviving.
I just was so disgusted. Oh.
They go to Kansas City the next week and win with Taylor back in.
Right.
54-24, scorigami. 2021. Is this not the last game of the year where Miami needed it and the Bills killed them?
Okay, yes.
56-26.
Yeah.
Scorigami. Only scorer, 56-26 score in NFL history. 1979, this is Jerry Butler. Bills 46, Jets 31.
Ooh.
Scorigami. 2008, Fitz in Arrowhead.
Oh, I remember this game.
Bills 54, Chiefs 31. Scorigami, 85 points.
I remember. Do we have time?
Yeah, you're good. I've got a few more.
This is regrettable. It's one of the most embarrassing things that I feel like I've ever done on the show.
Have a seat.
But somebody called us on that post-game show, and I lost. I really lost. I mean, I insulted the guy.
Really?
And he emailed me, and I remember writing back and apologizing. Because I knew what I did was I knew it was wrong. And the minute I did it, I was like, I maybe even called him a name. I'd swear at him, but whatever. I was a jerk to the guy. I mean, he was jerky with us, but still, I escalated the situation very irresponsibly, and I felt horrible about it. And I obviously still remember it, and I'm carrying the scars.
You always will.
Because I really felt like that was one of the worst times I ever had on the air.
This is the Chief game we're talking about?
That Chief
2008?
game. Yeah. This maybe was somebody that liked Fitz more. By then, I was maybe like, yeah, Fitz, come on. What are we doing here? And the guy really wanted to give it to me for being down on Fitz, and I lost it. I was a real jerk.
The worst spots I think we get into, and this hasn't happened in years because of the Bills' success, is when we're not excited about a meaningless win. Because there are people who are just leaving their friend's house or leaving the stadium that had a great time watching the game, and like, so what?
Yeah. This was early in the season, but still, I wasn't buying it. I wasn't like,
right.
We've got a great quarterback now.
You were right.
But
last year, the Sean Tucker game, Bills 44, Tampa Bay 32. Only game to finish 44-32 in NFL history.
You know what I remember about that game? There was a running back from Tampa.
Sean Tucker. Yeah, like that's from what we talked about earlier. I don't remember anything the Bills did well. Only that Tampa Bay's third-string running back ran all over him. And then he went right back to the bench. But I'm still hoarding him in fantasy just because of that day.
That's smart.
1991, Kelly, 6 touchdown passes. Bills 52, Pittsburgh 34.
4 of them to Don Beebe.
Right, that's scoregami. 52-34. 1960, Bills in Denver, 38-38 tie. The only 38-38 tie in the history of the league, or either league. Mike Hollis.
Minnesota.
Right. 2002 overtime. Bills 45, Vikings 39.
Off the crossbar and in.
To tie it.
Mm-hmm.
And then is it Peerless Price
yes.
in overtime?
Yep.
That's the only 45-39 game ever. 2 more. Last year's opener. 41-40.
All right.
Baltimore. And 2024, this was not the Thanksgiving game in Detroit. This is 2024 after they had lost in L.A. And they went to Detroit the next week and they won 48-42.
They had
90 points.
The same game, basically, as the Ram game. They just won it.
Won it.
Yeah.
They didn't give up a block punt.
Right.
Like they did again. Was that Michael Hoyt for the Rams?
Ooh,
against them?
What a question. I don't remember.
All 18 you maybe jokingly earlier when I said that this is how I spent my morning a little bit doing this, is that a lot to have 18?
Mm-hmm.
Probably.
Seems like it is. Yeah.
It seems like it would be. There aren't that many.
Right.
And the Bills' fingerprints are on 18 of them. I wonder how many there are total. I didn't count that. Maybe I have something to do tomorrow now.
Yeah, or you know, I could
touch grass.
You could, or some dirt.
Yes.
Give me an assignment because I just texted my friend. I don't think the golf tomorrow is going to happen. This topsoil adventure this morning has taken it out of me.
Uh-oh. You're saying that now.
Yeah.
9-8-1 is their overall record in games, and it's, always fluid. If somebody else shows up and plays 10-5, then you take that one off the list.
Right.
I'll keep the list. Let it be the official.
Yeah.
Hopefully I didn't miss one. If I did, anybody let me know, please, because I want this to be the official Bills Zagami list. 9-8-1. It definitely turned around after starting 0-7 on this list. They lose the low-scoring or blowout loss scoregami games and then win the shootouts. That's what's basically happened, and several of them have been pretty recent. I mean, Allen is in 6 of these games, 4-2. 2-point conversions help too. Making scores a little bit more unusual. Yeah. Right. Mike Schopp and the Bulldog back after this timeout here on WGR.
Sorry, my headphones were unplugged for a moment with the intense. Everything sounded
I learned a new name from NFL history today in my travels. Jim Del Galzo. Know that name at all?
Not familiar.
This is a tough one. The perfect Dolphins had a quarterback named Jim Del Galzo.
Did he take a single snap?
He did. He might have filled in garbage time for Earl Morrall. Remember, Greasy, I say remember, like I think you would. Greasy was out for most of that season, came back for the postseason from a broken ankle. But, yeah, a guy named Jim Del Galzo. Welcome to the show for the first time. Earl Morrall's backup.
Nice to know you.
Connor Rogers, not his first time here, joined us earlier from SNY talking AFC East. That's next.